Chapter 474. Yi Tianyun looked coldly at the cultivators around him. These are all ruthless people. If he doesn't act ruthlessly, he won't be able to intimidate them. Those who can come here are definitely not simple. The point is that they are cruel and can do anything. Yi Tianyun killed a core transformation realm cultivator in one move. It shocked everyone. Ren Liangchen and the others weren't surprised at all. With Yi Tianyun's overbearing power, he could easily kill a core transformation stage expert. It's just that Yi Tianyun's sudden attack caught them off guard. Who else wants my medicinal pill? Yi Tianyun looked at everyone's shocked expression and asked again. Le Feng, don't blame me for not giving you face. Kill him. One of the core transformation realm cultivator's eyes were filled with killing intent. 3 core transformation realm cultivators immediately rushed towards Yi Tianyun. Obviously, they have a good relationship with the core transformation realm cultivator who was killed before. The rest of the core transformation realm cultivators went to check on their companions to see how serious the situation is. Le Feng looked at Yi Tianyun's eyes and looked at the cultivators who attacked Yi Tianyun with a sympathetic smile. Bang, bang, bang. Yi Tianyun was merciless. He flew up to meet them, and with a sudden kick, he sent them flying one by one. He didn't need to do too much. Each of them only needed one kick, and before they could react, they were already stuck to the wall. Then, they lay on the ground, unable to move and breathless. Ding successfully killed Peng Yun, gaining 100,000 EXP, 700 crazy point, 800 SPS. Obtained martial art pushing heaven palm, reverse water cloud. Obtained items, pushing heaven palm, earthquake stomp, recovery pill, detoxification pill. Ding. Successfully killed Le Chen, gaining 150,000 EXP, 800 crazy point, 850 SPS. Ding. The 3 of them were instantly killed by Yi Tianyun. They didn't even have the chance to beg for mercy. This time, he didn't let those core transformation stage cultivators swim for a while and then let them live. Instead, he directly killed them without any hesitation. The 2 places were different. There were fewer people there, and after swimming 1 lap, one would not be far from death. If one could endure it, it would be considered one's ability, and it meant that one was not fated to die. Things were different now. If he didn't intimidate them, he wouldn't be able to calm them down. Anything else? Yi Tianyun didn't mind killing them all. This way, he could gain more experience. Although it wasn't a lot, he still understood the principle of accumulating experience. 3 people were killed in an instant. This time, it really shocked the others, especially when they went to check on the cultivator who was sent flying. One of them said in shock, "Dead, dead." 3 core transformation stage cultivators who were at least at the 6th or 7th level of the core transformation stage were instantly killed. Even a peak core transformation stage cultivator couldn't do it so easily, right? Could he be at the void spirit stage? But that's not right. Why would a void spirit stage expert come here? Their hearts trembled, and they began to back away. In addition to fear, there was also anger in their eyes. What, are you not convinced? In the future, when you fight, please use your brain. Brains are very good, I hope you have it. Yi Tianyun glanced at them lightly, then looked at Le Feng and said with a smile, "Thank you for your help just now. You gave me the pill, so I should help you, but now it seems that you don't need my help." Le Feng shrugged his shoulders and said, "Let's get to know each other." He stood up again. He recognized Yi Tianyun's strength, so he wanted to get to know him. Previously, he thought that Yi Tianyun was just a passerby, so they didn't know each other. Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun simply introduced. Le Feng. Le Feng smiled and immediately turned to look at the others and said, "Brother Yi's words are very pleasant to hear. Brains are good things, I hope you all have it. I said before, don't bully anyone you see. If you kick an iron plate, you will be happy. Now, I was right, right?" The cultivators were angry, but they did not dare to say anything. They could only keep their words in their hearts. "Brother Lu, has anyone succeeded in crossing over this period of time?" Yi Tianyun asked. Of course, there were 2 people who succeeded in crossing over a while ago. Their cultivation level was not as high as mine, but they managed to cross over. Lefong shook his head and said, "It seems that some skills are needed. Cultivation level is definitely needed, but with some skills, one can cross over. If one's attributes match the situation here, then it will be even easier." Attribute. Dark attribute. Yi Tianyun mentioned a relatively rare attribute. It was a rather rare physique, similar to a spatial physique. Yes, you can say that. Or it can be said that it is relatively easier to restrain the power here. Lefong glanced at them and said, "Work hard. Put in a bit more effort and you will be able to cross over. Brother Yi, you have to be careful. Unless you kill all of them, once you fall down from above and are seriously injured and unable to fight back, you will be in trouble." Lefong said the last sentence through telepathy. The last sentence was said by Lefong's divine sense transmission. Obviously, he wanted to make friends with Yi Tianyun. It's good for everyone to have a good relationship with a strong master. Thank you for the reminder. Yi Tianyun smiled faintly and said, "But they won't have this chance." Yi Tianyun turned around and said to Ren Liangchen and the others, "Are you ready? Are you ready to climb up and successfully cross on your first try? Are you confident?" Of course. They nodded their heads, full of confidence. The cultivators watching from the side showed a mocking expression, but most of them looked at them with resentment. "All of you are dreaming. Do you think you can climb up on your first try? You are too naive. Hihi, aren't the newcomers so naive? When they come down from above, we will. Just watch. I don't think they will be more than 500 feet tall." They were all staring at Yi Tianyun. Of course, only a small group of them were left. Most of them just watched from the side and had no intention of making a move from the beginning. He could not rule out the possibility that they would take advantage of him later, but it had nothing to do with him because he would succeed in one try. Soon, after Ren Liangchen and the others adjusted their breathing, they immediately began to climb up. As soon as they climbed up, black gas immediately drilled into their bodies and kept eroding their bodies. They clenched their teeth and quickly climbed up, not stopping for long. Yi Tianyun was the last to climb up. When he put his hand on the wall, he immediately felt a surge of power surging out from inside and seeping into his body, trying to erode it. Devour. Yi Tianyun used the devouring divine skill without hesitation. Then, the black gas that surged out quickly turned into his experience. Not only did it not cause him any harm, it was even beneficial to him. Chapter 475. To others, this place was a nightmare. To him, it was a piece of cake. As more and more black gas gushed out, he absorbed more and more experience points. It was a pity that he couldn't extract the black gas forcefully. Otherwise, he would definitely collapse the cliff by absorbing the black gas. As long as he could absorb it, there was nothing he could not absorb. What a pity. It would be wonderful if I could extract it by force. Yi Tianyun shook his head and continued to climb. The higher he climbed, the more experience points he absorbed. 7,000 experience points, 8,000 experience points, 9,000 experience points, 10,000 experience points. He climbed up bit by bit. He did not rush up all at once. No matter what, it was a pleasure for him. He did not feel any pain at all. Unless the amount of energy gushing out was more than what he could absorb, it was a pleasure. Yi Tianyun was neither fast nor slow. He just followed behind Ren Liangchen and the rest. He did not plan to surpass them. He would climb as fast as they could. At first, Ren Liangchen and the rest rushed up with all their strength. They were quite fast, but they began to slow down as they climbed. At this time, they had already reached the 300 feet region. They were about 200 feet away from the height that they thought was no more than 500 feet. Normally, they would reach the height of 200 feet in less than a breath's time. They had to climb up bit by bit. If they continued to climb, they would reach the black cloud when they reached the height of about 300 feet. This meant that they had to climb at least 300 feet to reach the black cloud area. They were still quite a distance away from the black cloud. It seemed like they had slowed down a lot. It was indeed difficult to climb to the height of 300 feet. As they continued to climb, they soon reached the height of 400 feet. They continued to climb up to the height of 500 feet. In fact, their current situation was a little bad. The black gas had already invaded their bodies, making them look slightly darker. However, they could still hold on and continue to climb. Yi Tianyun squinted his eyes and looked at the situation. The situation here was a few times better than the situation below. He could see that just from the experience points he was getting. Now that he was getting 20,000 to 30,000 experience points each time, it was enough to show how difficult it was. No wonder they said that 500 feet was their limit. For Ren Liangchen and the rest, it was a very big limit. Whether they could continue to climb was another matter. Look, they won't be able to hold on much longer. They definitely won't exceed 500 feet. That's for sure. The number of people who can surpass 500 zhong for the first time can be counted on one's fingers. I don't believe they can surpass 500 zhong. They were all very confident that Ren Liangchen and the others would not be more than 500 feet away from them. Brothers, we must charge forward. We can't let those guys look down on us. Ren Liangchen roared, and quite a bit of the black gas within his body was forced out. He then continued to climb up. Not only did he not slow down, he even moved slightly faster than before. That's right, we won't lose to anyone. Yang Jiwen and the others clenched their teeth and continued to climb up, wanting to show off their strength. Lung, who did not speak, but his grave and stern expression was enough to prove his mood. With this resolute strength, they really did increase their speed. Then, under the astonished gazes of the crowd, they rushed up 500 feet in one go. This caused the people below to be dumbfounded. They felt that this was simply too inconceivable. They never thought that they would really be able to climb up. Yi Tianyun, who was below, nodded his head. He felt that their willpower was really not bad, and their minds were very strong. It seemed that they had experienced a lot to reach this step. Otherwise, how could they be so determined? Along the way, Yi Tianyun was very satisfied with their situation, so he wanted to recruit them. The first requirement for him to choose people was their mind. If their mind was not firm enough, it would be useless no matter how talented they were. The path of cultivation was long, and it would be very difficult to succeed without a firm belief. No way, it's really more than 500 feet, it's really more than 500 feet, but so what? I don't believe that they can successfully climb up in one go. If they can successfully climb up, I will walk upside down from now on. One by one, they changed their previous words. Fortunately, they did not place any bets before, or they would have suffered a great loss. Under the surprised gazes of the crowd, they continued to climb up, but their speed was getting slower and slower. When they reached 60 feet, Yang Jiwen, who had the lowest cultivation, could not hold on anymore. His face darkened, and just when he wanted to continue climbing, his other hand had already lost its strength, and he fell from the sky. Brother Yang, Ren Liangchen and the others' expressions changed. They saw that Yang Jiwen's condition was bad, and he looked like he was about to faint. If this continued, even if he did not fall to his death, he would be seriously injured. At that moment, a rope was thrown out, and Yang Jiwen was dragged over and back. The person who threw the rope was none other than Yi Tianyun. He saw an opportunity and dragged Yang Jiwen back. Just like that, Yang Jiwen hung on his body a little. At that moment, a terrifying energy came from the cliff, and it was several times stronger than before. However, it was all converted into experience points, and it entered his body. It was really a pleasure. The effect is doubled. Is this a problem of bringing an extra person? Yi Tianyun was a little surprised. He did not expect such a situation to happen. Haha, that kid still wants to bring an extra person up? Doesn't he know that he will die faster this way? What an idiot. It seems like he can't hold on for much longer. Let's get ready. What a hero. I have never seen anyone who can bring an extra person up, and he is no exception. All of them laughed ferociously, and it looked a little scary. Brother Yi, hurry up and put him down. You will increase the burden on yourself by doing this. It's fine for one person to pass through the nether gate, but with an extra person, the effect will double. If you continue to go up, you will not be able to hold on. Le Feng hurriedly reminded. They all felt that Yi Tianyun was too reckless and too ignorant. As expected of a newcomer who did not understand the situation here, he did the most stupid thing possible. Yi Tianyun turned a deaf ear to them and continued to climb up. He said calmly, "Continue to go up. Let me see your limit." Ren Liangchen and the others looked over. They wanted to persuade Yi Tianyun, but when they saw the determination in Yi Tianyun's eyes, they swallowed their words. They nodded and continued to climb up with all their strength. Yi Tianyun's position in their hearts was getting higher and higher, and so they chose to listen to him. Chapter 476. Ren Liangchen and Leng Hu struggled to climb up, while Yi Tianyun slowly followed behind them and kept absorbing the energy. Soon, Yang Jiwen slowly woke up. He really fainted just now, and after a while, he woke up. As soon as he woke up, he found himself tied up by Yi Tianyun and hung on his body. He climbed up bit by bit, and it looked extremely difficult. "Brother Yi, what are you doing? Put me down. I will drag you down," Yang Jiwen shouted in a weak voice after he regained his senses. "Just stay there and recover. When you recover, you continue to climb up, that's all," Yi Tianyun said indifferently. "We will climb up on the first try, not the second time." Yi Tianyun's words not only shocked them, but also shocked everyone in the audience. He wants to pass on the first try? How can he say such stupid words? So far, they have never seen anyone pass on the first try, unless they are super strong, such as the Void Spirit stage. They may pass on the first try, but they don't believe that Yi Tianyun has the cultivation of the Void Spirit stage. If he has this kind of cultivation, why would he go to the ghost world? He can already be a king here, so going down there is just asking for trouble. Did I hear it wrong? They want to pass on the first try? You heard it right, that kid wants to pass on the first try. Does he think he is strong just because he killed a few people? Who cares? Let's just watch them make a fool of themselves. It's impossible for them to pass on the first try. They sneered at Yi Tianyun, thinking that what they can't do, they can't do it either. Brother Yi, Ren Liangchen and the others were deeply infected by Yi Tianyun's confidence. They felt that Yi Tianyun's words are very powerful, and it is easy for them to trust him. Then, they increased their strength and continued to climb up, and soon, Leng Hu began to be unable to hold on. Although it requires skills to pass on the first try, it also requires cultivation as a foundation to support them, so Yang Jiwen was the first to give up, followed by Leng Hu. In a situation where there was no technique, cultivation was the best strength. Page, Leng Hu snorted, his hands could no longer hold on to the cliff, he fell to the ground. However, Yi Tianyun's rope was faster. Then, he was dragged over and hung on his body. At this time, the surging energy doubled again, which meant that it had multiplied several times in a row. In an instant, he had reached the limit of what he could currently absorb. 90,000 EXP, 95,000 EXP, 100,000 EXP. Without any crazy experience stacking, it had already reached such a shocking level. It could be said that it had reached the limit of absorption. Of course, the limit mentioned here was the limit of the heaven-devouring divine art. It could also be stacked on top of the heaven-devouring divine art. The two could stack on top of each other. On the other hand, the dark north divine art could not be stacked at all. Heaven-devouring divine art, activate. After activating the heaven-devouring divine art, his devouring effect immediately increased greatly, but the experience he absorbed did not increase. Because in this kind of situation, there was only so much energy surging out. He activated it in advance and continued to climb. Every time he climbed a certain distance, the energy surging out would increase. This was the biggest difficulty. When this scene fell into everyone's eyes, they were shocked. It was hard enough to continue to climb with one person, but now he wanted to carry two people. If we continue to climb 10 feet, he will definitely fall. Carrying two people at one time is courting death. They immediately came to the conclusion that Yi Tianyun would not be able to persist for that long. Brother Yi, you, rest well and recover for me. If you have the strength to talk, you might as well recover quickly and continue to climb for me, Yi Tianyun said coldly. Yang Jiwen and Leng Hu did not say anything. There was a bit of determination in their eyes. They took out some pills and stuffed them into their mouths to recover quickly. Indeed, as Yi Tianyun said, if you have the strength to talk, you might as well recover quickly. Ren Liangchen looked at this side, then continued to climb, gritting his teeth. He hoped that he could climb a little higher. He climbed bit by bit, and Yi Tianyun slowly followed behind him. No matter how slow Ren Liangchen was, Yi Tianyun was as slow as Ren Liangchen, like a nanny. I'm almost done, I can continue to climb. Yang Jiwen felt that he had almost recovered, so he decided to continue to climb. Yi Tianyun did not say anything, he only nodded his head, indicating that Yang Jiwen could continue. Yang Jiwen's body swayed, and he grabbed the cliff wall. The impact of the energy made him almost let go. However, he suppressed the black energy and continued to climb, and he really could continue to climb. Although he could not hold on for too long, at least he did not want to be dragged by Yi Tianyun. Without Yang Jiwen, Yi Tianyun immediately relaxed a lot. As long as he left Yang Jiwen and continued to climb, he would not be stacked with the energy. Very soon, Leng Hu was almost done. He did not say anything, he just swayed his body and continued to climb without saying a word. After all, it was better to do more than to talk. Humph! Ren Liangchen finally could not hold on anymore, he fell from the sky, and then he was dragged by Yi Tianyun and hung on his body. This time, he really managed to carry 3 people. As long as the other 2 people could not hold on anymore, he would be able to carry 3 people to climb up. This situation did not last for too long, because the situation above was getting worse, and Yang Jiwen could not bear it anymore. He let go of his hand and slid down. In the end, he was hung by Yi Tianyun. Leng Hu also slid down, and he was dragged by Yi Tianyun. Now, all 3 of them were carried by Yi Tianyun, and they had reached the limit of their strength. However, it was already very amazing that they could climb up to a height of 60 to 70 meters. They were stronger than most of the core transformation stage cultivators present. Very good, then it's my turn. Yi Tianyun climbed up slowly, 1 meter at a time. The people below were dumbfounded when they saw that Yi Tianyun could really climb up with 3 people, and he could still maintain his speed. Especially when they saw that Yi Tianyun was still able to climb up with ease. What's going on? Can he really bear the pressure of 3 people and continue to climb up? Impossible. Can he really climb up? I also want to be his companion, it's so good to be hung like this. They were shocked to the extreme, especially Le Feng. He thought that Yi Tianyun was reckless and ignorant, but it turned out that they were the ignorant and stupid ones. Chapter 477. Yi Tianyun turned the impossible into possible. His speed was neither fast nor slow, and he completely withstood the pressure from the 3 of them, causing his experience bar to explode. 160,000 EXP, 170,000 EXP, 200,000 EXP, crazy mode, activate. 3, 2 million EXP, 3. 4 million EXP, 3. 6 million EXP. Yi Tianyun did not miss this opportunity and directly activated crazy mode. Every time he died, he could get more than 3 million EXP. Why not? It was much better than killing a core transformation stage powerhouse. The only problem was that they did not drop anything good. However, as his cultivation level increased, the number of good things dropped by the core transformation stage powerhouses decreased. It was easy to drop rare things in the past, but now it was very difficult to drop them. It seemed that as his cultivation level increased, the number of good things dropped by core transformation stage powerhouses decreased. The EXP was exploding, but he could not absorb it all in his current situation. Plus, there were 4 of them, so the effect was too strong. Therefore, the excess energy rushed into his body and was immediately absorbed by the flame of the netherworld in his body. Flame of the netherworld value increased by 500, increased by 600, increased by 700. The experience points had reached the limit, but it was the flame of the netherworld's turn. The speed of the experience points was quite impressive. It seemed that it would not take too long for the flame of the netherworld to level up. After absorbing for a while, he would be able to successfully break through. Not bad, not bad. Yi Tianyun was pleasantly surprised. He did not expect the black chi to be a great tonic. The soul ferryman's effect was useless here. Because he took the initiative to stick to it, the black chi would rush in and the soul ferryman's effect would be ineffective. But this was good, otherwise, he would not be able to gain EXP. Along the way, he continued to rush up, rushing up to 800 feet, even 900 feet. He did not feel like he could not hold on at all, and he could continue to climb. Along the way, the three of them could not hold on anymore. The rest time was too short, so they were in a state of free movement, forcing the black chi out of their bodies. This made the three of them look like a burden to others. Otherwise, Yi Tianyun would definitely have an easier time. Regardless of their experience, Yi Tianyun wanted to help them. He felt that they were already quite outstanding. Being able to surpass most people, coupled with his tenacious willpower, was more or less enough. He couldn't just abandon them and let them slowly crawl here, right? He didn't know how long it would take. He had something important to do now, so he wanted to hurry. This is already 100 jong high, and he can still climb so high while dragging 3 people. Isn't this too terrifying? This is unbelievable. If this continues, we will definitely rush into the black clouds. Rushing into the black cloud, and bringing 3 people with him, this kid is dead for sure. Those who held grudges against Yi Tianyun felt that their chance had come. As long as they were swallowed by the dark clouds, even if they didn't die, it would take a long time for them to recover. In this situation, they had enough time to kill Yi Tianyun. Le Feng, I advise you not to interfere. The 3 core transformation stage cultivators moved closer to the cliff and waited. Once Yi Tianyun was swallowed by the dark clouds, they would immediately launch a sneak attack on him. Le Feng's eyes flashed. He already had a plan in his mind. As soon as Yi Tianyun landed, he would immediately rush over to save the situation. At this time, Yi Tianyun stopped and turned his head to look down. He immediately smiled at them and said, "Since you want my life so much, then you can take it." Doppelgangers. In the next moment, 3 doppelgangers quickly descended from the sky, and each doppelganger aimed at the 3 core transformation stage cultivators and kicked them fiercely. None of them could react to this sudden change. After the 3 doppelgangers landed on the ground, they quickly kicked the 3 core transformation stage cultivators and sent them flying away. The 3 doppelgangers looked around coldly to see if there was anyone else who was still hostile and wanted to wait for Yi Tianyun to come down. All of a sudden, they were dumbfounded. 3 identical Yi Tianyun. They thought that it was a camouflage, but who knew that it was the real deal? Yi Tianyun was able to kill them in one move. This kind of power shocked everyone once again. Oh my god, what kind of martial art is this? It's so powerful. 3 doppelgangers. They are really powerful. If they hit us, we will definitely die. Fortunately, I didn't get involved in this, otherwise, we will definitely die. So powerful. I'm afraid that his cultivation is really at void spirit stage. Shocked, they all thought about the void spirit stage, which was the cultivation they yearned for even in their dreams. Thinking of this, they felt a chill in their hearts. Perhaps, Yi Tianyun's cultivation was really at void spirit stage. Yi Tianyun, who was climbing up, ignored the situation below and continued to climb up. In one breath, he rushed up to the black clouds. Soon, the black clouds crazily rushed into his body and drilled into his body. When they tried to drill into his body, they were blocked by the power of the soul pheromone, preventing them from entering. These black clouds were very powerful, but they were not as powerful as the soul pheromone title. As long as the black clouds did not take the initiative to suck them in, they would be blocked by the soul pheromone title. Yi Tianyun glanced at them and ignored them. He had no intention of taking off the soul pheromone title. He was clear about the current situation. If he didn't have to drag the 3 people down, he could do so. But now, the situation was different, so he didn't dare to casually absorb the black clouds. He could only let the soul pheromone title block the black clouds. This situation shocked the people below. When they climbed up, the black clouds would immediately attack them. But now, when Yi Tianyun climbed up, the black clouds hid to the side, not daring to approach. This was really shocking. What kind of situation was this that even the black clouds were afraid of it? Why didn't the black clouds approach him? What's going on? Strange, the black clouds seem to be avoiding him. Could it be that even the black clouds are afraid of him? They were all shocked. For better or worse, they had all experienced great winds and waves. Today's matter was the first time in their lives that they were so shocked. It was really unbelievable. Anyone could have fallen for it, but Yi Tianyun was fine. How could they not be shocked? As for Ren Liangchen and the others, because they didn't climb up the mountain, the black clouds did not surge over. They let Yi Tianyun bear it. Of course, with the Soul Ferryman title, even if the power was doubled, he could still block it. Under their shocked gazes, Yi Tianyun rushed into the black clouds in one breath and disappeared from everyone's sight. They looked at the sky for a long time. Their eyes were dull, and they couldn't believe it. Someone really passed the Soul Ferryman on his first try. Most importantly, he brought 3 people with him. Chapter 478. It was impossible for Yi Tianyun to go down, so even if someone was hostile to him, it would be meaningless. Le Feng looked at Yi Tianyun's disappearing figure and suddenly laughed. It seems that we are still frogs at the bottom of a well. There are too many things that we don't know. I still have a long way to go. Le Feng immediately rushed up and began to climb up quickly. In just a short while, he had climbed more than 10 feet. It seemed that he had decided to go to the ghost world instead of staying here. Yi Tianyun didn't care what they thought, and he also didn't want to care about it. After he rushed up in one breath, he was shrouded by the black cloud. Apart from that, there was nothing else to interfere with him. It was already very difficult to climb up here, and if there were other things, it would be really dangerous. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully breaking through to 5th level Void Spirit stage. Finally, after a long time of crazy absorption, he successfully broke through to 5th level Void Spirit stage, and this was under the effect of crazy experience mode. It would take a long time for him to absorb the black cloud according to his original level. For him, this place was an incomparable place to provide experience, and it provided him with a steady flow of experience. If he continued like this, he would have no problem breaking through to the peak of Void Spirit stage. The experience here is really rich. Not only can it provide experience points, but it can also provide proficiency in the fire of Netherworld. It's an excellent place to practice. Yi Tianyun was very satisfied with this place. Ren Liangchen and the others who were hanging below gradually recovered. They felt ashamed when they saw Yi Tianyun climbing alone. Yi Tianyun's speed wasn't fast at all. Brother Yi, let us do this by ourselves. They still wanted to hold on for a while, and they didn't want to see Yi Tianyun carrying 3 people by himself. They had all suffered from the pain here, so they knew what it was like. Now, Yi Tianyun had to bear the strength of 3 people, and they felt terrified just thinking about it. Stay there and adjust the black gas in your body. If you don't expel it, your life will be in danger. I don't want to spend so much effort only to bring a dead man up there, Yi Tianyun said in a low voice. This was not a lie. They had already absorbed to a certain limit. Although they had expelled a lot of the black gas and recovered a lot, they had only recovered a little. It was so serious here that he would soon faint again. He knew what Ren Liangchen and the others were thinking, but he wanted to go up as soon as possible. He didn't want to waste too much time. They fell silent and could only listen to Yi Tianyun. They knew that they had reached their limit and needed a long time to recover. This meant that Yi Tianyun had no choice but to leave first. If he waited for them, who knew how long it would take for them to pass? The 3 of them looked at each other and saw determination in each other's eyes. As Yi Tianyun quickly climbed up, after passing through the black clouds, he saw the top of the mountain. Finally, after climbing almost 120 zhong, he successfully reached the peak. We're here. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. The height was not very high, but the difficulty was not low. Soon after, he rushed up, brought them to the peak, and put them down. After reaching the peak, they saw a huge teleportation device. Other than that, there was nothing else. It seemed that they could successfully reach the underworld through this teleportation device. It seemed that this teleportation device was a one-way teleportation and not a two-way teleportation device. Otherwise, there would definitely be people coming out. You guys rest here. I'll go down first. Yi Tianyun didn't explain anything. He immediately climbed down the cliff. This stunned them. Once others came up, they would never want to go down. Yi Tianyun, on the other hand, wanted to go down. They could only stay on the top and meditate to recover. They had to expel the black gas in their bodies first. Otherwise, it would be inconvenient for them to move. They were seriously dragging the team down. At least they had to walk by themselves, right? After Yi Tianyun went down, he did not go to the bottom. He stopped at the black cloud and began to absorb the energy here. How could he miss out on so much experience? Remove the title. Yi Tianyun took off the Soul Seeker title. It can be removed without equipping it. After he unloaded it, the surrounding black clouds seemed to have found an exit. They surged toward him and drilled into his body, devouring him in a frenzy. Xiong. The netherworld flame quickly swallowed it, absorbing it all. No matter how much comes, he will devour it. This is a great supplement for him. 2000 proficiency, 3000 proficiency, 3500 proficiency, quickly stacking up, saving crazy point to level up. These black clouds are proficiency. It seems that although it is not the netherworld fire, it is definitely related to the netherworld fire. Otherwise, how could he obtain proficiency? After absorbing for a while, a clear sound finally came. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully breaking through to high-grade Earth-level netherworld fire. The next level requires 10 million proficiency. After the level up, the suction force suddenly increased by a lot. The surrounding black clouds were sucked in crazily, turning into more and more proficiency points. It was as if an explosion had occurred. 10,000 proficiency, 20,000 proficiency, 30,000 proficiency, crazily increasing. The speed of absorption has greatly increased, suddenly making the black cloud here thinner. That's right, under his frenzied absorption, the black clouds here had actually become thinner. Other people can't withstand a little bit of absorption, but he is absorbing crazily. How can it not make the black cloud here thinner? Whether it is experience or proficiency, he has gained double, which makes him feel refreshed. This time, it was not a waste of time. Just on the road can make him a lot stronger. What if he goes to the Phoenix Nest? His goal is not limited to Void Spirit stage, but Spirit King stage. After all, in the Divine Kingdom, there are many Spirit King stage cultivators. If he doesn't break through, death is waiting for him. As the black cloud became thinner and thinner, the people below gradually began to see the black cloud becoming thinner, and they were very shocked. Look, the black cloud seems to be thinner. Bullshit, how can the black cloud become thinner? Do you think it is still the death fog? It really has become thinner. What is going on? They looked up at the black cloud one by one. The most difficult thing is there. It is the black cloud. If the black cloud disappeared, then they will definitely be able to pass. Chapter 479. As it became thinner, the cultivators below the nether gate saw a figure at the top. Black clouds continuously entered his body. As the black chi became thinner, they finally saw who was absorbing the black chi crazily. After seeing it clearly, they were all dumbfounded. They thought that the black clouds suddenly became thinner. Who knew that it was Yi Tianyun who was absorbing it crazily? It was as if he did not care about his life and kept entering his body. What's going on? He is absorbing the black clouds. Didn't the black clouds not go over previously? Why can he go over now? The three of them are gone. It seems that they have successfully gone up. But he came down to absorb the black clouds. What is going on? He absorbed so many black clouds, but nothing happened to him. They were all dumbfounded. One wave after another. They had just recovered from the shock, but they were deeply shocked again. There was no end to it. He was absorbing faster and faster. As long as they touched the black clouds, they felt like they were dying. But Yi Tianyun was still absorbing it crazily. He was simply inhuman. Yi Tianyun ignored everyone's gazes and continued to absorb the surrounding black clouds. The surrounding black clouds became thinner and thinner. He did not care about others' gazes. This was a chance to improve his strength. He could not miss it. This kid. Le Fong had already climbed more than half the distance. When he saw Yi Tianyun absorbing the black clouds, he was shocked. However, he did not slow down. He continued climbing quickly. Especially when he saw that the black clouds had disappeared, he could easily pass through the nether gate. Let's go up too. The black clouds will disappear soon. At this moment, some cultivators reacted quickly. They immediately rushed over and climbed up. They all wanted to go to the netherworld realm. Now that the black clouds were about to disappear, it was their best chance to leave. They did not know when the black clouds would condense again. All they knew was that they would disappear soon. Soon, they started climbing quickly. They were worried that the black clouds would condense again. When that happened, they would not be able to withstand it. This state did not last long. Yi Tianyun quickly absorbed the surrounding black clouds. His flame of the netherworld's proficiency increased by hundreds of thousands. But by this time, the surrounding black clouds had disappeared. There wasn't even any energy coming out of the cliff, so he couldn't absorb any experience at all. What's going on? It's gone. Yi Tianyun was stunned. It was one thing for the dark clouds to disappear, but why did the energy inside the cliff disappear as well? Could it be that the dark clouds outside are related to the energy gushing out from inside? Yi Tianyun frowned. This meant that he had finished absorbing and there was nothing left. There was no point in staying here any longer. The cultivators below him were still climbing at a slow pace, but they all had doubtful looks on their faces. That's strange. Why don't I feel the black gas flowing out from inside corroding my body? You too. I thought I was the only one who was fine. So you're fine too? Yeah, I don't feel anything either. Other than a little pressure, the erosion of the black gas has disappeared. All of them were pleasantly surprised. Now, all that was left was a bit of pressure. It was the pressure from the sky that prevented them from flying. It was still bearable for them, and it was better than being eroded by the black gas. Yi Tianyun looked down and shook his head. It seems that I have absorbed all the energy inside. I thought I would be able to level up a few levels. Yi Tianyun felt helpless. He absorbed all the black gas in the cliff and made it extremely safe. Previously, it was extremely difficult to pass through the cliff, but now, as long as one was at the core transformation stage, he could easily pass through the cliff. If those who passed through the cliff knew what had happened now, they would be so depressed that they would vomit blood. They had risked their lives to pass through the cliff, but now, they could pass through the cliff as easily as drinking a cup of water. Yi Tianyun felt that there was no more experience to absorb, so he quickly climbed up the cliff and returned to the top of the cliff. At this time, Ren Liangchen and the others had already recovered a lot. When they saw Yi Tianyun, they were surprised. Brother Yi, what happened? Are you okay to absorb the black gas? Obviously, they all saw the situation from above, and when Yi Tianyun went down again, they definitely want to see the situation, but who knew that Yi Tianyun went to absorb the black cloud? What can happen to me? If there was something wrong, would I still be standing here talking to you? Yi Tianyun smiled. Although there was nothing left to absorb, the harvest this time was not small. Whether it was his level or the netherworld flames level, both had improved a lot. Soon, Le Feng climbed up from the cliff and looked at Yi Tianyun from head to toe as if he had seen a ghost. Brother Yi, are you okay? What do you think? Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders. Unbelievable, unbelievable. You absorbed so much black gas and nothing happened to you. Your actions allowed us to pass through this place easily. It looks like many cultivators who will need to pass through the Nether Gate in the future will have to thank you. Le Feng smiled. He felt that this was incredible. Is that so? I don't think they will thank me. Yi Tianyun's expression is indifferent. At this time, other cultivators have climbed up one after another. Without the black clouds blocking their way, they can climb up easily. There is no problem at all. They happened to hear Yi Tianyun's words and showed an awkward expression. They had been mocking him for what he did. Now that they got some benefits, they did not know what to say. Thank you for your help, friend. It was all our fault, please don't take it to heart. Yes. We just felt that you were a little too confident. We have never seen someone so confident before, so our words were a little harsh. We are still very grateful to you, or else we would not have been able to come here. All of them were embarrassed, but most of them were scared. They could only apologize to Yi Tianyun. If he wanted to kill them, who could stop them? Thinking about how those who resisted were killed one by one, they felt terrified. If they provoked Yi Tianyun, they would be dead for sure. No need to thank me, I was just doing my own thing. If there is nothing else, you can leave. I am not a homicidal maniac. Yi Tianyun could not be bothered with these people. It was useless to flatter him. It was already kind enough not to slap them a few times. Thank you Lord, thank you Lord. All of them felt like they had been pardoned. They hurriedly walked to the side of the teleportation array and started to pour their spiritual energy into it. Then, they quickly disappeared from Yi Tianyun's sight. They were really afraid that Yi Tianyun would hold a grudge and immediately kill them. With their strength, they would not be able to stop him. Chapter 480. After everyone left, only Le Feng's group was left. The others immediately ran away, not daring to stay here any longer. Brother Yi, what are you going to do in the underworld this time? Can you tell us? Le Feng asked. I'm going to do something. What's the problem? Yi Tianyun looked at him and said. No problem. I've always been here and have never been to the netherworld. It would be great if I could have a companion along the way. Le Feng smiled. I wonder if I can join you guys. That's right. You're right. That's not necessary for now. I have something to do, so it's not convenient. Yi Tianyun refused. He was going to the phoenix nest. It was not convenient for him to bring others there, not even Ren Liangchen and the others. It should be said that other than him, no one else would believe it. Originally, the phoenix nest was extremely against humans. If there were too many people, it would cause conflicts. So, it would be better to have fewer people. So, Brother Yi, are you familiar with the underworld? Le Feng immediately caught the other meaning in Yi Tianyun's words. If it was the first time he went to the underworld, he would definitely be fine. The most important thing was to familiarize himself with the surroundings and then make other plans. When Yi Tianyun said that he had something to do, Le Feng immediately caught the meaning. Not very familiar. I just know that there's something I need to do. Yi Tianyun said indifferently. Okay then. Le Feng saw that Yi Tianyun did not want to say more, so he did not continue asking. If that's the case, I won't say more. See you again if fate allows it. After saying that, Le Feng walked into the teleportation formation and soon disappeared from their sight. After he left, Ren Liangchen and the others stood up and looked at each other. Then they looked at Yi Tianyun and said, Brother Yi, we plan to go with you. No matter where you go, we'll follow. If it's not convenient for you, we can wait for you somewhere else. The three of them looked at him firmly. It was as if they believed that he would follow them. Why did you do this? Didn't we plan to go our separate ways after forming a team? Yi Tianyun smiled. That was the original plan, but it's different now. Brother Yi, you didn't abandon us along the way, which made us very touched. We intend to follow you forever and are willing to work for you. Ren Liangchen said in a deep voice, we've always been wandering cultivators, so we're willing to serve you. Especially before, we felt that you were more capable of commanding us and becoming our big brother. Yes, your cultivation is the strongest, and you have never abandoned us. You don't mind us dragging you down. Just this point alone is enough for me to decide to follow you. With such a boss, we are willing to obey. Same here. Lung Hu faintly smiled, revealing his ugly smile again. It was clear that he was thinking the same thing. Their gazes were resolute and determined to follow him. It was obvious that Yi Tianyun's actions when they were climbing the mountain had deeply touched them. Based on this point alone, it was enough for them to choose Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun looked at them and smiled. Actually, I'm the leader of a good force. I wonder if you are willing to join my force. They looked at each other and exchanged glances. Ren Liangchen nodded and said, that's not a problem. I think joining your force won't be bad. Didn't you say before that you were afraid of being bound? Yi Tianyun smiled and said, this. As long as we can follow Boss Yi, I think we will definitely have a good life. We were afraid of being cheated by the sects before, but with Boss Yi's wisdom, how could we be cheated? Yang Jiwen smiled and changed the way he addressed Yi Tianyun. May I know which force Boss Yi belongs to? Tell us, let's see if we have heard of it before. My real name is Yi Tianyun, and I'm the Mansion Lord of Heavenly Clouds Mansion. I'm also the future Great Emperor who is going to establish the Heavenly Clouds Empire. Do you know that? Yi Tianyun smiled and told the truth. What? The three of them stared at Yi Tianyun with their eyes wide open. The news was too shocking to them, and it took them a while to recover. The Mansion Lord of Heavenly Clouds Mansion? The future Great Emperor of Heavenly Clouds Empire? You are the super expert who destroyed the Netherworld Empire? Yang Jiwen asked in surprise. That's right. Yi Tianyun smiled and said. It seemed like his reputation was quite good. This is unbelievable. A legendary figure is right beside us. And it's our boss Yi. Ren Liangchen and the others were surprised and happy at the same time. They thought that they wouldn't be able to get close to Yi Tianyun, but who knew that Yi Tianyun was right beside them? So, are you willing to join us? Yi Tianyun asked with a smile. Of course. The three of them shouted in unison. Well, welcome to Heavenly Cloud's mansion. Yi Tianyun smiled and took out 3 saint tools. This is a gift for you. Don't show it off to others. Saint tools. The 3 of them exclaimed. Yi Tianyun was too generous to give them to Yi Tianyun. These saint tools were looted by Yi Tianyun, and he didn't sell them. He originally planned to give them to his subordinates. Instead of selling them for crazy points, it was better to give them to his subordinates. As expected of Boss Yi, he just joined us, and he already gave us such a gift. Ren Liangchen said with a laugh. He felt that it was a wise choice for them to follow Yi Tianyun. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully subduing absolute loyalty General Ren Liangchen, plus 100 commander points. As your cultivation level increases, you will be able to continuously gain experience points. It will never stop. Whenever you kill an enemy, you can get corresponding rewards, including EXP, crazy points, and sin points. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully subduing absolute loyalty General Leng Hu, plus 100 commander points. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully subduing absolute loyalty General Yang Jiwen, plus 100 commander points. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully subduing more than 3 absolute loyalty General Yang Jiwen, plus 100 million EXP, 1 million crazy points, and Divine General Summoning Order. Divine General Summoning Order. You can instantly summon loyal generals to your side no matter how far away they are. Can only be used 3 times before shattering, regardless of number. A series of system notifications popped up. There wasn't much reward for subduing these generals, but after reaching a certain number, there was still a reward. Especially the Divine General Summoning Order, which could be summoned at any time, regardless of number. Chapter 481. Successfully subduing 3 generals made Yi Tianyun full of surprise. The more of these generals, the better. He had planned to recruit them as generals before. Just when he was about to talk about how to subdue them, they took the initiative to join him. So, he followed their wishes and subdued them. Since you chose to follow me, I won't give you anything too shabby. Yi Tianyun smiled. Low-grade sacred tool was not a problem for him. The number of sacred tools he obtained was not bad, so he didn't need them for the time being. As long as it wasn't a high-grade sacred artifact, he wouldn't be interested in it. As such, he casually gave away low-grade sacred artifacts. Moreover, they were his generals, so it was only natural for him to give them the sacred tools. It seems that following Big Brother Yi, we will definitely have a good life. Yang Jiwen touched the sacred tool grade divine sword in his hand with excitement. He seemed to be able to foresee a beautiful future. The other 2 nodded and felt that their choice was absolutely the right one. However, they chose to follow Yi Tianyun mainly because of his unwavering loyalty, not the sacred tool. What was the use of a sacred tool if they were sent to die so easily? If they died in the blink of an eye, they wouldn't be able to enjoy anything. It was better to be free. It's almost time, let's go to the ghost world. Yi Tianyun stopped smiling and shifted his gaze to the teleportation array in front of him. He then took the lead and walked towards the teleportation array. This time, I have something to do in the ghost world. Because it's a special matter, I won't take you there. We heard about that just now. Go to the ghost world and find a place to settle. We will wait for you to come back. They nodded and didn't choose to go with him. Since Yi Tianyun said that he wouldn't let them go, they didn't force him to do anything. They just had to wait for him to come back. But after I come back, I will soon return to Tianyun Mansion. I won't stay in the ghost world. Are you willing to go back with me? Yi Tianyun asked. They had just gone to the ghost world, and they didn't stay for long. He wanted to hear what they thought. If they didn't want to go back for the time being, he would let them stay in the ghost world. Of course we're going back with Big Brother Yi. There's no point in us staying in the Netherworld. Originally, we wanted to go to the Netherworld to strengthen ourselves, but now it seems that following Big Brother Yi is more promising. Ren Liangchen and the others smiled. Well, if that's the case, let's go to the Netherworld together. When I'm done with my business, I'll bring you back together. Yi Tianyun smiled. Soon after, they all walked to the teleportation array and poured their spiritual power into it. After it was activated, the teleportation array immediately teleported them out. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared from where they were, and everything returned to normal. The surroundings of the Netherworld gate began to condense bit by bit, and no one knew how long it would take for it to return to its original density. At the very least, it would take a long time. For a period of time in the future, the cultivators who came later would benefit. They would be able to easily enter the Netherworld realm through the Nether Gate. Yi Tianyun only felt that his body was empty, as if he was floating. After a short period of blankness, what appeared in front of him was a green grassland. It was a vast grassland that stretched as far as the eye could see, and there was nothing else. The most important thing was that even the others, including Ren Liangchen and the others, were gone. It was obvious that this was a random teleportation, not a directional teleportation at all. No wonder they couldn't go back through the Netherworld passage. Even the teleportation was random, let alone going back. It's a random teleportation array, how magical. Yi Tianyun frowned. It would be more difficult to find them this way. However, he had the simplest and most violent way, which was to use the Divine General Summoning Order. However, the Divine General Summoning Order could only be used 3 times, which was undoubtedly a waste of an opportunity. There was nothing wrong with the situation in front of them, and it was not full of dangerous aura like the Netherworld passage. It looked no different from the Heavenly Border continent. Being called the Netherworld realm did not mean that there were dangers everywhere, or that there were terrifying auras everywhere. The reason why it was called the Netherworld realm was mainly because it was colder here, and there were more people who cultivated the Netherworld attribute. The Netherworld attribute was relatively broad, including the ice attribute and the dark attribute. As long as it was related to the colder attribute, it could be collectively called the Netherworld attribute. Therefore, this place was called the Netherworld realm, and it was very suitable for cultivators of these attributes to cultivate. It was not that the surroundings were very dangerous, there were ghosts floating everywhere, but it was not much different from the Heavenly Border continent. There were also green grasslands everywhere, and even the concentration of spiritual power was much higher. It was indeed several times stronger than the Heavenly Border continent. Just a simple cultivation here would allow one to break through to the core condensation level. The cultivation environment can determine a lot of cultivation conditions. Even without taking medicinal pills, one can easily break through. Apart from feeling a little cold, there was no other difference, and this was the Netherworld. It seems that I can only summon them here. I am not familiar with this place. Yi Tianyun didn't hesitate to use the Divine General Summoning command, and an interface immediately appeared in front of him. The names of the 4 Divine Generals were listed, including Shu Fei's name. This means that as long as he wanted, he could summon Shu Fei to the Netherworld in an instant. But he did not need Shu Fei to come here for the time being, so he did not need to choose Shu Fei. Send the 3 of them to me. After Yi Tianyun chose Ren Liangchen and the other 2, he immediately activated the summoning order. Soon, the surroundings flashed, and Ren Liangchen and the other 2 appeared beside him. Among them, Ren Liangchen's face was dark, and he fell to the ground as soon as he was teleported. Boss Ren. When they just reacted, they saw Ren Liangchen lying on the ground, his face was dark, and there were a few wounds on his body. Obviously, he was bitten by something. He was poisoned, he must have been bitten by something. Yi Tianyun frowned, he did not expect that Ren Liangchen would be in danger as soon as he was teleported here. Yes, I was bitten by a poisonous snake, it was too fast. Ren Liangchen's face was dark, he looked very painful, it was more painful than swimming in the dark water. Don't move, I will help you detoxify the poison. Yi Tianyun took some blood from Ren Liangchen's wound, it was already rotten, if he continued like this, he would definitely die. Soon, he found out what kind of poison it was, and he quickly started to concoct the antidote pill. His speed was so fast that they could not react in time. Boss is also an alchemist. They were all confused. Yi Qianyun did not answer them. He immediately gave Ren Liangchen the antidote after he finished concocting the antidote. Under the effect of the antidote pill, poisonous blood gushed out of the wound, and only then did Ren Liangchen feel better. If he did not use the divine general summoning order, Ren Liangchen would definitely die. Chapter 482. With the help of Yi Qianyun's detoxification pill, Yi Qianyun's speed of detoxification is quite amazing. As long as the detoxification pill is targeted, the effect will be quite good. Yi Qianyun also specially made the fourth refining detoxification pill. The effect is several times stronger than the normal detoxification pill. Therefore, after a short while, Ren Liangchen's condition improved greatly, and they were relieved. Did you two encounter any danger? Yi Qianyun felt that Ren Liangchen's condition stabilized, so he asked about their situation. No danger, I just teleported here, and when I was looking for a way out, I suddenly found myself in this place. Yang Jiwen was puzzled. I was at the edge of a swamp, and it looked quite dangerous. When I wanted to find you, I was teleported here. Leng Hu said. What happened? Did the boss send us here? Yang Jiwen was puzzled. Well, I made a few things and teleported you here. I was afraid that you would encounter some danger. Yi Qianyun frowned and said, but fortunately, if I didn't hurry, Liang Chen would be dead. Ordinary detoxification pill can alleviate the symptoms, but the poison is too strong, it can't completely detoxify the poison. The most important thing is that he is entangled by the snake, and it won't let him escape until he is dead. Yi Qianyun saw that Ren Liangchen was bitten, and there were traces of entanglement on his body. Obviously, Ren Liangchen was tightly strangled. It seems that the divine general summoning order didn't teleport even the snake, it can only teleport people here. If he saved a little bit, then he will never see Ren Liangchen again. Yi Qianyun will not be stingy in this regard. People are alive, and this thing can be bought in the mall, so there is no need to worry about not having enough. But in terms of price, 1 million crazy point is still affordable. They are not in a hurry, they are waiting for Ren Liangchen to recover, and then they are ready to move. Thank you, Big Brother Yi. If it weren't for you, I would have died here. The place I was in is too dangerous. I just got out of here and now I am in the territory of the beasts. I am so unlucky. Ren Liangchen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The others were fine, but he was about to die. Seems like this random teleportation is too random. If I'm not careful, I'll die here. Yi Qianyun frowned. Judging from Ren Liangchen's situation, this kind of situation was not uncommon. He had only just arrived, yet he was already struck. If he died, it would be a huge loss. He had worked so hard to come to the Netherworld, but before he could even see the world clearly, he had already died here. Yes, it really depends on luck. Ren Liangchen looked around helplessly and said enviously, it's safer here. It doesn't look dangerous at all. Yi Qianyun smiled and didn't say anything. It was normal for him. His luck value was extremely high. If he was sent to a dangerous place like this, then all his luck value would be wasted. Alright, let's find a place to settle down first. After we decide on a place, I'll do something else. Yi Qianyun took the lead and flew. He didn't fly randomly. Instead, he flew in the direction that his soul guided him to. He wanted to see if there were any cities along the way. Ren Liangchen and the others followed behind and flew forward. Fortunately, they could fly here. Otherwise, their efficiency would be greatly reduced. Soon, they didn't fly for too long. They could see a big city in the boundless grassland from afar. They saw a towering city wall surrounding the city. This was the first time they saw a big city since they came here. It didn't look any different. Everything that should be here was here. There weren't any big changes. Guangyun City. Yi Qianyun and the others landed and saw the name carved on the city gate. Through the gate, they could clearly see the bustling streets inside. There were many cultivators coming and going, and they could hear people shouting their wares from afar. When they walked in, the guards on the side didn't even bother to look at them. They didn't even charge them any protection fee. After entering, Yi Tianyun casually glanced around and saw a row of houses. All of them are shops, selling different medicinal pills or weapons. Almost everything could be found here. As long as you have money, you can buy what you want. The cultivators who came and went had high and low cultivation levels, but the lowest cultivation level was not lower than core condensation stage. Most of them were above core condensation stage. Core transformation stage powerhouses were quite common here. He could even see a few void spirit stage experts at a glance. In the mortal world above, void spirit stage cultivators were relatively rare. But here, they could be seen as soon as they entered the gate. Their cultivation was not high. Most of them were at level 1 or level 2 of void spirit stage. The atmosphere here was lively. People were selling their best things and bargaining with each other. Hey, you four are new here, right? I have a high-grade Earth-level martial art here. It's absolutely rare. I guarantee you will be satisfied. I have a high-grade soul tool and even a sacred tool here. Come and have a look. They were very enthusiastic. They wanted nothing more than to sell the things in their hands. But when Yi Tianyun glanced at them, he didn't see what he wanted at all. Now, what he wanted the most was soul-accumulating grass. It could greatly increase his experience. Do you have soul-accumulating grass? Yi Tianyun asked indifferently. Soul-accumulating grass? We don't have it. The cultivator shook his head. Friend, do you want soul-accumulating grass? A cultivator appeared out of nowhere. He looked shifty. I'm Mo Shu. I think there's some in front. Do you want me to take you to have a look? Oh, lead the way. Yi Tianyun signaled him to lead the way. He didn't expect that there would really be soul-accumulating grass. It's just that the name was weird. Mo Shu. His entire body looked like a ball of darkness, and he had a shifty-eyed face, which was a fitting name for him. Mo Shu led them forward with a smile. Along the way, the cultivators in the surrounding shops all shouted when they saw him. Mosey, do you have a referral? Hehe, not at the moment. If I did, I would definitely bring someone over to find you. Mo Shu clearly had a good relationship with the people here. There were many guides like him. Yi Tianyun looked around casually. He found that there were also other cultivators being led in to buy things. These were like receptionists. They specially led them to buy what they wanted, and then they would get a certain commission. Under Mo Shu's guidance, they came to a shop in the alley. If Mo Shu hadn't led them here, they really wouldn't have found it. The most important thing was that it was closed. It was still closed in broad daylight. Dong, dong, dong. Mo Shu knocked on the door and shouted, "Shopkeeper, open the door. Someone wants to buy spirit medicine." After a while, the door slowly opened. An old man's face stuck out from the crack of the door. He looked extremely scary. Chapter 483. After the shopkeeper glanced at them outside, he slowly pushed the door open. However, he did not open it too much. It was only enough for one person to enter. How is this a reception? It's like opening the door for them to come in. I'm sorry, this is shopkeeper Yi's shop. This shop has the most spirit herbs in Gwangyun City. This shop has everything that other shops have, and everything that other shops don't have, this shop has it. Mo Shu said apologetically. Humph. Come in. The shopkeeper didn't seem happy when he heard Mo Shu's words. Instead, his voice was still cold. Under the guidance of Mo Shu, Yi Tianyun walked into the shop. Ren Liangchen and the others were confused as they didn't know why Yi Tianyun came to buy the soul-accumulating grass. Especially after he heard that Yi Tianyun wanted to buy the soul-accumulating grass. They had all heard of the soul-accumulating grass. In fact, it was a good spirit herb that could strengthen the soul, but the effect was getting worse and worse. So why did Yi Tianyun care so much about it? After they entered the shop, they saw that it wasn't a dark house. The walls were inlaid with expensive jade stones, which could play the role of emitting light, making the house quite bright. Apart from that, there were all kinds of medicinal pellets placed around the walls, and they were arranged quite neatly. Ren Liangchen and the others were immediately shocked when they looked at the place. This is a 5th-grade medicinal pellet, spirit severing pill, and it's also a 5th-grade medicinal pellet. There are 5th grade spirit herbs, 6th grade rainflowers, and 6th grade spirit herbs. My God. This place is really rich. I've never seen some of them before. They were shocked to see a lot of spirit herbs and medicinal pellets that couldn't be seen outside, but the highest grade was 6th grade. Maybe there were even higher grade ones, but they could only see a small part of them now. The shopkeeper came in and sat on a rocking chair. He poured himself a cup of tea and slowly tasted it. He didn't seem to be entertaining guests at all. Yi Qianyun carefully looked at shopkeeper Yi, and the detailed information immediately appeared. Shopkeeper Yi, 2nd layer Spirit King stage, not wearing any equipment. Martial arts, Underworld Ghost Palm, Underworld Ghost Divine Art, Underworld Ghost Step, etc. Weaknesses, none. Overall battle power, 180 million, normal state. Drops Underworld Ghost Palm, Underworld Ghost Divine Art, Underworld Ghost Steps, and other rare items. As expected of a Spirit King stage cultivator, his combat power was 180 million, and he could kill a Void Spirit stage cultivator with just a slap. There was a Spirit King stage cultivator in such a remote place, it was really mysterious. Looking at how many treasures there were here, without enough strength, it would be impossible to defend them. That's the Celestial Spirit Leaf. It's such a waste to use the Celestial Spirit Leaf to brew tea. Ren Liangchen gulped. It seemed like he had done a lot of research in this field. Yi Qianyun had also noticed this. The Heavenly Spirit Leaf was a level 4 spirit herb, but it was used to make tea. This level of wastage was truly outrageous. To a Spirit King, this was really nothing. Shopkeeper Yi, I brought you a customer this time, he wants soul accumulating grass. You said before that if anyone wants soul accumulating grass, they should bring it to you. Mo Shu rubbed his palms together and said respectfully to shopkeeper Yi. Oh, someone wants soul accumulating grass? Shopkeeper Yi slowly put down the teacup and looked at Yi Qianyun. Who wants soul accumulating grass? That's me. Yi Qianyun stood up and said. Those who want soul accumulating grass are usually cultivators who cultivate their soul. Are you a divine rune master? Shopkeeper Yi asked. I am a divine rune master, is there a problem? Yi Qianyun said. Ren Liangchen and the others were startled. Yi Qianyun is a divine rune master? Wasn't he an alchemist before? Why is he a divine rune master? What rank? Shopkeeper Yi sat up. The eyes on his old face flickered a few times as if he wanted to see through him. Don't ask me what rank. Ask shopkeeper Yi what kind of divine rune you want to inscribe or what rank of divine rune you want to break. This is the main point. Yi Qianyun smiled faintly. Shopkeeper Yi squinted his eyes and said, Kid, you seem very confident. It's all right. Yi Qianyun smiled faintly. Shopkeeper Yi glanced at Mo Shu and said, When did I tell others about this? This. About half a year ago. Mo Shu rubbed his hands and said, It's already been half a year. I don't care about this anymore. You still remember this. Shopkeeper Yi got up and said, I didn't want to go out at first, but now I have to take you out. That kid is helping me find someone to open the box, and he hasn't come back yet. I don't know what he's doing. You're saying to find someone who needs the soul accumulating grass, just to find a divine pattern master to open that box? Mo Shu asked in shock. You can say yes, but you can also say no. Shopkeeper Yi didn't say much. He just put his hands behind his back and walked out with them. He didn't even bother to close the door. There were a lot of pills inside, but he didn't even close the door. Wasn't he afraid of being stolen? Ren Liangchen and the others were speechless. They didn't know that the old man in front of them was a Spirit King stage expert. Anyone who tried to break in and steal things would end up dead. Under the lead of shopkeeper Yi, they came to the street. There was a long queue not far away from them. There were a lot of people waiting in line, but they didn't know what they were doing. When they got closer, they saw a young man sitting on the side. There was a small box in front of him. The box was covered with dense divine runes, which looked quite complicated. For a box to be covered by so many divine runes, people couldn't help but wonder what exactly was inside, for there to be so many divine runes sealing it. I have 3 soul accumulating grass here. As long as you help me unlock the divine runes on the box, plus the 2 divine tools beside my disciple, you can have them. Shopkeeper Yi took out a bottle of pills and threw it to Mo Shu. You still remember what I did half a year ago. This is your reward. I wanted to recruit some divine rune masters, but no one wanted the soul accumulating grass. It seems like no one knew the effect of the soul accumulating grass for a long time. Shopkeeper Yi shook his head and looked at Yi Tianyun. What do you want the soul accumulating grass for? I want to refine the soul accumulating pill. Yi Tianyun said simply. Shopkeeper Yi shook his head. What a waste. But as long as you can successfully open the box, I will give you what I said just now. Chapter 484. Yi Tianyun looked at the box full of divine runes. There are many divine runes engraved on it, but the grade is not high. At most, there are only 5th grade divine runes. But it is 5th grade divine runes, it is enough to stump everyone. Ding, successfully accepted side quest. Help Shopkeeper Yi open the treasure chest. Reward, 30 million EXP, 100,000 crazy points. Shopkeeper Yi's favorability increased by 100 points. Yi Tianyun didn't expect a temporary quest to appear at this time. Usually, when there is a quest, it means that the person must be very important. But Yi Tianyun can see that this Shopkeeper Yi is not simple. He opened a shop in such a remote place, and he doesn't even welcome customers. God knows what he wants to do. Failed again. A divine rune master jumped up angrily and pointed at the box. This is only 5th grade divine rune? How is this possible? I feel that there is at least a divine rune grandmaster, and it is a very difficult one. If you can't open it, then let me do it. Don't waste time. The divine rune master behind frowned. The divine rune master in front of him dragged his feet for so long, it made him very impatient. Fine, I'll let you do it. The divine rune master glared at the young man and said, Kid, is this really a 5th grade divine rune? Of course it is. Is it really a 5th grade divine rune? Don't you have eyes to see? Even if it is not a 5th grade divine rune, just these 2 saint tools are enough to invite a divine rune grandmaster to help you, right? If you don't have the ability, then don't yell. Hurry up and let the next person do it. Don't waste my time. The young man had a blade of grass in his mouth. It is immediately seen that the grass in his mouth is not ordinary grass. It is jade spirit grass, a 4th grade spirit grass. It can be used to concoct a very good medicinal pill, but it is in his mouth just to taste a little sweetness. You little brat. The divine rune master was angry, but just when he was about to get angry, the young man's eyes became cold, and a cold light burst out from his eyes. The divine rune master's anger was extinguished like a bucket of cold water, and finally he can only turn around and leave. Yi Tianyun looked at the young man. He is not very old, about 21 years old, but his cultivation is not low. He is at core transformation 7th level. For this age, it is simply a heaven-defying existence. However, when he thought about how he had Shopkeeper Yi behind him and how many spirit pills he had no choice but to grow stronger. Why are there so many people today? Shopkeeper Yi arrived in front of the young man. This is what you want to do. The more people the better. The more people the better, the better. What you want to do, the better the rune master. Don. Yi Man said. This is what you were going to do in the first place. The more people, the better. The most important thing is what you wanted to do just now. Don't cause trouble for me, understand? Shopkeeper Yi complained. I understand, master. The young man said helplessly. That's Shopkeeper Yi's disciple, Pu Ren. He seems to have been taken in by someone and is very pampered. But I've already brought my responsibility. Good luck. Mo Shu laughed, took the elixir and left, not at all polite. Originally, they relied on this to make a living, so they had to get some benefits. Otherwise, how could they live? Yi Tianyun glanced at him and did not pay any attention to him. He could only follow the other cultivators to line up. After Shopkeeper Yi brought him here, he didn't care about anything else. He just stayed by the side and watched. One by one, the divine inscriptionists came over to try and break the divine inscription, yet not a single one succeeded. However, no one could tell whether he was happy or sad. He was as calm as ever. Yi Tianyun guessed that Shopkeeper Yi had seen too many failures, so he didn't care anymore. Damn, This divine inscription is so difficult to break. I am a dignified divine inscription grandmaster. How can I not even break this? A divine inscription grandmaster looked at the box angrily. There were so many people watching, yet he couldn't break this divine inscription. Immediately, he looked angrily at shopkeeper Yi and said, "Can I smash this box?" "That's up to you. As long as you can smash this box, whether it's attacking or breaking the divine inscription, it's up to you. But if you want to attack this box, you have to think carefully. The divine inscription on it is not a joke." Shopkeeper Yi said indifferently, "Why didn't you say so earlier? I don't believe that this divine inscription can be that strong. This sacred tool is mine." The divine inscription grandmaster took out a big sword and fiercely slashed at the box. He was a cultivator at the peak of the core transformation stage. This sword was quite powerful, and a huge sword light slashed down. Boom! When the sword light slashed at the box, a rebounding force fiercely bounced the divine inscription grandmaster away, and he was sent flying into a shop. Immediately after that, he crawled out of the shop, and under the impact of the rebounding force, he suffered serious injuries. What a strong rebounding force! I admit defeat. The divine inscription grandmaster coldly snorted, turned around, and walked away. If he continued to stay here, he would only lose face. The other people who wanted to break the box with brute force shrank their hearts. It seemed that this method was not going to work. They thought that they were not much stronger than the divine inscription grandmaster, but he was still sent flying like this. What else could they do? "Let me try." A void spirit stage expert walked over, holding a huge iron hammer in his hand. It was actually a low-grade sacred tool. This strong man's whole body was bulging, and his muscles were exposed, looking quite domineering. After coming over, one by one, they stepped aside, looking at this imposing manner. It was really possible that the box would be smashed, and the things inside would be smashed. "I am not a divine inscription grandmaster. If I smash this box, does it count as opening it?" The strong man said in a clear voice. "I said, as long as you can open this box, I will give you the 2 sacred tools with both hands." Shopkeeper Yi said in a deep voice. "That's good. It's enough to hear you say that. There's nothing I can't smash." The strong man laughed loudly, raised the giant hammer, and fiercely smashed the box. The veins on his body bulged, and the metal attribute power in his body completely poured into the hammer, making the hammer shine with a dazzling light. It looked quite dazzling. "Break for me." The burly man bellowed in rage and swung his hammer downwards. Boom! Following that, a figure was sent flying into the sky. A trail of blood could be seen spurting out from the impact. Obviously, this strong man failed, and it was a crushing defeat. The terrifying rebounding force caused him to be seriously injured. The sacred tool in his hand fell to the side, and smashed a shop. But no one dared to take this sacred tool. It was a void spirit stage expert sacred tool, and it will come back in a while. Continue. Shopkeeper Yi looked indifferent, and signaled everyone to continue. Chapter 485. Shopkeeper Yi signaled everyone to continue smashing the box. As long as they could break the box, he would give them the reward. Although it was tempting, it was very difficult to break the box. Who would have thought that a 5th-grade divine inscription grandmaster wouldn't be able to break it apart? But for a grandmaster to do so, it was truly an extremely rare occurrence. The Netherworld Empire's imperial teacher was a divine rune grandmaster in theory, but he was only a half-step divine rune grandmaster. The spirit race's old ancestor was a true divine rune grandmaster, but he was only a primary divine rune grandmaster. Therefore, it was very difficult to reach the level of a divine rune grandmaster. There were several divine rune grandmasters present, but none of them were divine rune grandmasters. As for those who wanted to break the box by force, even a void spirit stage cultivator couldn't do it. Yi Tianyun shook his head when others thought that it would take a Spirit King stage cultivator to break the box. If a Spirit King stage cultivator could break the box, then Shopkeeper Yi would have already done it. What is this box? Why is it so hard to open? Yi Tianyun narrowed his eyes as he looked at the box. He didn't know what kind of treasure was inside. "Boss, are you sure you can open this box?" Yang Jiwen asked excitedly. "There are 2 holy tools inside. If we can open it, we can get 2 holy tools." Yi Tianyun smiled and said. It depends on the situation. If we don't check it carefully, we won't know what is inside. He didn't care about holy tools, but he was curious about what was inside the box. Could it be a divine tool? This was not impossible. It would be a waste if there wasn't a peerless treasure inside the box. After that, the divine rune masters started to break the box one by one. No one tried to break the box by force anymore. Even a void spirit stage cultivator was blown away by the force. Hence, they could only rely on divine inscriptionists to slowly decipher the divine inscriptions one by one. If they couldn't decipher the divine inscriptions one by one, then the next. Shopkeeper Yi sat on the side and watched, while Pu Ren continued to lie on the side with grass in his mouth, feeling quite bored. Master, who can open this thing? If even you can't open it, who else can? Pu Ren said in a bored tone, we've been trying for a few months, and no one has succeeded. Every day, his job was to get people to open the boxes. It had been a few months, and no one had succeeded. Be patient. There will always be someone who can open it. Shopkeeper Yi said indifferently, the world is bigger than you can imagine. I'm just a small character. Shopkeeper Yi was quite humble and didn't think that he was very powerful. I've failed, damned chest. The divine inscriptionist furiously kicked the chest and turned to leave. Although he was reluctant to part with the saint artifact, he had no way to open the chest. There was no way for them to take it away. After failing one by one, it was finally Yi Tianyun's turn. Many people looked at Yi Tianyun and shook their heads. In any case, they were all failures. There was nothing to see. Just as he was about to check the box, an angry shout came from behind him, move, move, Grandmaster Tianqing is here. At this moment, a group of people walked over from behind. There were a few young disciples in front, and they gestured for the others to move aside so that they could make a path. The road was so wide, and they still wanted people to move aside. This was putting on airs. Surrounded by the crowd, a middle-aged man slowly walked over. His expression was full of arrogance, as if he looked down on everyone. It's Grandmaster Tianqing. The most famous Grandmaster Tianqing in Waveluck City is here. He must have heard about this box. That's right. After opening the box for so long, no one has been able to open it. At first, it attracted many divine rune masters, and now it attracted divine rune masters. In the end, even a Grandmaster was attracted. This time, it will definitely be opened. If even a divine rune Grandmaster can't open it, who can? All of them talked at once, feeling that they would definitely be able to open the box this time and end this shocking matter. A small box that no one could open, how could they not be shocked? Brat, move aside. Let my master go first. The young man in front arrogantly asked Yi Tianyun to move aside. Without a doubt, he was cutting the line. What did you say? Yang Jiwen and the others said angrily, we came first. If you want to open it, you have to line up first. Do you know who the person in front of you is? This is Grandmaster Tianqing, a divine rune Grandmaster, and you want us to line up? You can't open this box at all. Only my master can open it. When the time comes, you don't even need to try, the young man said in a low voice. Grandmaster Tianqing's expression was filled with impatience. Making him line up was equivalent to wasting time. Give him something and send them away. Grandmaster Tianqing waved his hand. Yes, master. The young man immediately took out a bottle of pills and handed it to Yi Tianyun and the others. Count yourselves lucky. This is a good pill. Take it and go to the side. Consider it your compensation. Yi Tianyun frowned. Why would he want something like this? Grandmaster Tianqing's cultivation was only at the 3rd or 4th level of void spirit stage. He could kill him with one slap. Line up. At this time, a low voice came from the front. Everyone looked up and saw Shopkeeper Yi looking at them coldly. An incomparably terrifying aura pressed down on them. The young man and Grandmaster Tianqing were pushed back a few steps by this aura. And this was just the aura. This cultivation. Grandmaster Tianqing's eyes were filled with shock. He didn't expect there to be a super expert here. His face sank. He didn't expect to encounter such a situation. But he could only obediently line up. No need. Since you want to come first, I'll let you go first. Yi Tianyun made an inviting gesture. Boss. Yang Jiwen and the others were very unhappy. They obviously came first. Let them go first. I want to see if a divine rune grandmaster can open this box. Yi Tianyun said indifferently. At least you know what's good for you. The young man's face was pale. But seeing that Yi Tianyun was giving way, he hurriedly asked his master to open the box. Grandmaster Tianqing glanced at him, but didn't say anything. He walked to the front of the box and prepared to break the inscriptions on it. Shopkeeper Yi glanced at Yi Tianyun. Since Yi Tianyun was giving way, he didn't say anything. Grandmaster Tianqing stretched out his hand and placed it on the surface of the box, trying to find a way to break the inscriptions. Again and again, he tried to break the inscriptions, but it all ended in failure. He thought that he would be able to break the inscriptions in an instant. Who knew that he would fail again and again? As time passed, Grandmaster Tianqing's face turned red. Under the gaze of so many people, he, a divine rune grandmaster, still failed. But he didn't choose to leave immediately. Instead, he continued to break the inscriptions again and again. He couldn't afford to lose this face. Yi Tianyun shook his head. Grandmaster Tianqing was actually just a half-baked grandmaster. How could he be considered a true grandmaster? He had long seen through Grandmaster Tianqing's plan. Chapter 486. Grandmaster Tianqing failed again and again, causing his face to turn as red as a pig's liver. It was clear that he had failed. No matter what he did, he couldn't open the chest. It meant that he was going to lose all his reputation and face here. He had thought that he would definitely be able to break it, but who knew that he would still fail? One must know that this was a 5th-grade divine inscription. Even a grandmaster of divine inscriptions had no way to break it. What situation was this exactly? More and more people noticed the situation, and they started to suspect that Grandmaster Tianqing was unable to break the divine imprints. It can't be, right? Even Grandmaster Tianqing can't break the runes on the chest. That shouldn't be possible, right? That's an evolved scholar we're talking about. How could a 5th-grade divine inscription not be able to break it? Could it be that Grandmaster Azure is a fake? Or could it be that the runes on this chest aren't of the 5th grade? Even if it's not at rank 5, a Grandmaster should be able to open it. One by one, they shook their heads. Some felt that Grandmaster Tianqing was too weak, while others felt that the chest was too mysterious. However, no matter how mysterious it was, a Grandmaster should be able to open it, unless the divine pattern on the chest belonged to a Genesis divine pattern. This was clearly impossible. Genesis-level divine patterns were simply too legendary. No one had ever seen them before. He hadn't even seen a creator-level one yet. This level was simply too difficult to reach. Reaching the late stage of the divine inscriptionist realm was already extremely terrifying. What's wrong? You can't open it. If you can't open it, switch to the next one. Don't be stubborn. Shopkeeper Yi looked at Grandmaster Tianqing with an indifferent expression, as if he had already expected that Grandmaster Tianqing would not be able to open it. Who said I can't open it? I need more time. Grandmaster Tianqing persisted, wanting to see more of this divine imprint. He truly didn't want to lose face. All right, I'll give you a bit more time. The more stubborn you are, the more embarrassed you will be. Shopkeeper Yi continued to drink his fragrant tea, completely ignoring him. Grandmaster Tianqing mustered all his strength and continued to destroy the barrier madly, but it was to no avail. He was still unable to break it. Yang Jiwen and the others immediately laughed. You were so arrogant just now, but you still can't open it now? Brat, what did you say just now? Your master will definitely succeed. What about now? Master will definitely succeed, but it will take some time. So many people have been unable to open it. Even Master has to spend a bit more effort. As long as we can break it, a bit more time is nothing. The young man stubbornly refused to admit defeat. Is that so? Then hurry up. It's getting dark. Don't delay our journey. Yang Jiwen and the others snorted coldly. They turned to look at Yi Tianyun and said, Boss, if we continue to stay here, won't it delay your journey? We'll wait for you here in Gwangyun City. Don't worry, we have plenty of time. Of course, Yi Tianyun wasn't worried. He had already arrived at the Netherworld realm. Now that he had a mission to complete, why not? Moreover, he didn't have to wait too long. It would soon be his turn. Time passed quickly. 2 hours passed, but Grandmaster Tianqing was still unable to break the divine inscription. If this were to continue, it would seem that he would not be able to break it. Grandmaster Tianqing stood up and said in a low voice, "This box is not an ordinary 5th grade divine inscription. So far, no one has been able to open it. Even if other Grandmasters come, they won't be able to open it easily." He could only admit that he couldn't open it. The crowd was in an uproar. Who would have thought that even a Grandmaster would be unable to break this divine inscription? It was too strange. Next. Shopkeeper Yi waved his hand, indicating for Grandmaster Tianqing to hurry up and go down. Grandmaster Tianqing waved his hand. As he turned around, he said coldly to the divine inscriptionists behind him, "This is not something you can break. You need at least an existence close to the level of its creator to be able to open it." "That's right. Even my master can't open it, so naturally you can't. Hurry up and leave." The young man waved his hand, indicating for the divine inscriptionists to hurry up and leave. Yi Tianyun turned a deaf ear to him. He walked up to the box and prepared to study it. As he squatted down, he immediately activated his Heaven's Eye and began to examine every detail of the box. After a closer look, he found that there were almost no flaws. Although this was really a 5th grade divine inscription, it was so closely linked that it was like a dead knot. There was no way to unravel it. Originally, if it was listed separately, it would be full of flaws and could be easily broken. But under the interlocking, it actually made up for each other's flaws, causing the 5th grade divine inscription to be extremely complicated. But since it could be inscribed, there must be a way to break it. Interlocking, huh? Since that's the case, I'll break the balance and forcefully carve a hole in it. Yi Tianyun took out the Imperial Spirit brush. He didn't have a high-grade divine inscription brush, so he could only use the one from before as a replacement. He was prepared to inscribe a divine inscription on the box. "Brat, you won't listen no matter what I say. Do you think you can open it?" The young man snorted disdainfully. He felt that Yi Tianyun was overestimating himself and actually dared to challenge him. Grandmaster Tianqing waved his hand and said, "Some things, they will only know after trying. There's always someone better out there. You talk too much. Just because you can't open it doesn't mean others can't. If you can't open it, then hurry up and leave, don't block the way." Shopkeeper Yi looked at him coldly. "You." Grandmaster Tianqing looked at Shopkeeper Yi and said angrily, "I just don't want them to waste their time. If they can break this box, I'll walk upside down." "Quiet." Shopkeeper Yi snorted coldly, and a terrifying aura pressed down on Grandmaster Tianqing, forcing him to take a few steps back. This was the aura of a Spirit King stage cultivator, and he didn't dare to say a word anymore. Shopkeeper Yi stared at Yi Tianyun, and everyone looked at Yi Tianyun. They saw that Yi Tianyun was inscribing a divine inscription on the box. Everyone was stunned. Everyone had only inscribed a divine inscription on the box, but none of them had inscribed a divine inscription on it. But even if he did inscribe a divine inscription, what was the point? Is he inscribing a divine inscription? Is he trying to be funny? Everyone else is here to break a divine inscription, but he is here to inscribe a divine inscription. Doesn't he know that it's impossible to inscribe a divine inscription on a divine inscription? Forget it, this kid has nothing better to do, so he came here to have a look. The divine inscription masters behind him laughed, including Grandmaster Tianqing. They all felt that this was the stupidest divine inscription master they had ever seen. Just when everyone thought that Yi Tianyun was fooling around, a divine rune was engraved on the box with a ding sound. After the divine inscription was successfully inscribed, everyone was stunned, and before they could react, Yi Tianyun slammed his hand on the box. Bang! The divine inscription that was inscribed on the box exploded, followed by a chain reaction of other divine inscriptions. In just a few breaths' time, all the divine inscriptions on the box were gone. Chapter 487. Just as everyone was discussing whether or not Yi Tianyun was messing around, The divine sigil on the chest was suddenly broken by him. Everyone was stunned. Everything had happened too suddenly. All he had done was inscribe a divine sigil, then destroy it, and then the entire chest was destroyed. It was truly shocking. In the blink of an eye, the divine sigil had been destroyed. It didn't even take long. Other divine sigil masters had spent a long time trying to break the divine sigil. Some had even spent several hours trying without any results. Yet, in Yi Tianyun's hands, he had succeeded in breaking it in less than 5 minutes. It wasn't difficult at all. In the hands of others, a divine sigil that was equivalent to a Genesis divine sigil was equivalent to a real 5th-grade divine sigil in Yi Tianyun's hands. He could easily destroy it. This terrifying speed left them dumbfounded. They hadn't even regained their senses. What on earth had happened? How is this possible? He really broke it. Grandmaster Tianqing was stunned. This was undoubtedly a slap to his face. He had just said that if anyone could break the divine sigil on the chest, he would walk upside down in the future. It hadn't even been that long, and he was about to fulfill his promise. Ha ha ha, as expected of our boss. He opened it so quickly. Brat, who said we couldn't open it just now? Yang Jiwen and the others laughed loudly. In truth, they didn't have much confidence. When they saw Yi Tianyun really open the chest, they were only stunned for a moment before exclaiming in surprise. As expected of their boss, there was nothing he couldn't do. The young man's face turned the color of pig liver. He wanted to refute, but there was nothing he could say. The chest had really been opened. What else could he say? From this, it could be seen that the so-called grandmasters were all bullsh*t. It really broke. Shopkeeper Yi jumped up and floated to Yi Tianyun's side like a gust of wind. He took the chest and carefully examined the divine sigil on it. There really was nothing left. Not even a single divine sigil was left. What was left was a bare chest that could be easily opened. Shopkeeper Yi, you can check it carefully. Yi Tianyun signaled Shopkeeper Yi to check. Shopkeeper Yi opened the buckle on the box and slowly lifted it up. Then, a flame aura seeped out from the box. Just for a moment, Shopkeeper Yi immediately closed the box, making it impossible for others to see what was inside. Yi Tianyun didn't see it clearly either. It was just a small crack. Who could see it clearly? He believed that even Shopkeeper Yi couldn't see it clearly, but from the aura it emitted, he could clearly feel what it was: a very strong fire attribute treasure. The released flames were like a runaway horse, released in all directions. If it weren't for Shopkeeper Yi covering it quickly, it would have been released in all directions. However, just a trace of the flame aura was caught by him. Phoenix fire, a top-grade earth-grade flame, capable of burning everything. Moreover, it can allow a phoenix to be reborn from the flames, a flame that unlocks the conditions for nirvana. The appraisal eye instantly analyzed the origin of this flame. He didn't expect it to be the phoenix fire. It was really shocking. Inside this small box, there was also the phoenix fire sealed. It should be a treasure that was closely related to the phoenix fire. Unfortunately, Shopkeeper Yi quickly closed the box, so Yi Tianyun couldn't see what it was at all. He only knew that it was an extremely amazing thing. Under such a sturdy box, if it was just an ordinary item, he would really be depressed to the point of vomiting blood. You can really open it. I really didn't misjudge you. Shopkeeper Yi felt a burst of excitement. His originally old face was a little more rosy. This was all because of his excitement. It seems like Shopkeeper Yi already knew that I could open it. Yi Tianyun himself didn't know that he could open it. He just thought of a way to try. Who knew that he could really open it? After all, so many divine pattern masters couldn't break it. Sometimes, it wasn't because the divine pattern level was too low, but because the method was wrong. If the method was wrong, no matter how strong it would be useless. I just thought that you might be able to open it. You're the first cultivator that I can't see through out of so many people. Of course, it's mostly because of my intuition. Shopkeeper Yi was very happy. He pointed at the 2 divine tools and said, "These divine tools are all yours. Follow me to the shop, and I'll give you the soul accumulating grass. Thank you very much." Yi Tianyun smiled, picked up the 2 divine tools and put them away. Pu Ren, who was at the side, looked up and down at Yi Tianyun. He was very curious about him. He looked about the same age as him. How could he open this box? Could he be an old monster? Pu Ren was very curious. Shortly after, shopkeeper Yi led his people back. When Yi Tianyun followed, Grandmaster Tianqing stopped him and asked, "How did you do it?" "How could I do it? Didn't you see what I did just now?" Yi Tianyun said calmly, "Oh right, don't forget your promise. Remember to walk backwards in the future. Sometimes, one shouldn't say such things casually. It would only embarrass oneself." "You brat, do you know who I am?" Grandmaster Tianqing was furious. He was prepared to use his status to pressure Shu Qiu again. Scram. Shopkeeper Yi looked at him coldly. It was bad enough that he couldn't open the box, but he was still looking for trouble. This made him very unhappy. Grandmaster Tianqing was speechless. He was very unhappy, but because of shopkeeper Yi's strength, he could only suppress his anger and turn to leave. However, he wouldn't really walk backwards. It would be too embarrassing. He quickly left with a dark expression. The surrounding cultivators were pointing and gossiping. This matter would soon spread, and many people would know that Grandmaster Tianqing had lost to a nameless brat. Yi Tianyun and the others followed shopkeeper Yi back to the shop. There was no difference between entering and leaving the shop. No one would dare to come in and steal anything. As soon as they entered the shop, Yi Tianyun threw 2 holy tools to Ren Liangchen and the others and said, "Take these 2 holy tools, they will help you a little." This. Boss, you don't need them. Ren Liangchen and the others were stunned. They didn't expect that Yi Tianyun would give away 2 holy tools just like that. When shopkeeper Yi saw this, he revealed a surprised look in his eyes. Although a low-grade saint artifact wasn't something precious to him, it was still a good thing. At the very least, it was something that cultivators with low cultivation could only dream of. But now, Yi Tianyun just threw them to Ren Liangchen and the others. It was either he really valued them or he didn't like them. "Friend, may I know your name?" Shopkeeper Yi asked Yi Tianyun's name to prove that he recognized Yi Tianyun. It was very rare to get the recognition of a Spirit King stage cultivator. Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun directly said his real name. Anyway, no one here knows his real name, so he just said it casually. "Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun. Very good, I will remember you. You have helped me a lot this time. For so many years, no one has been able to help me break this divine rune." Shopkeeper Yi said gratefully. "For this, I will give you another thing." Chapter 488. Shopkeeper Yi was in a very good mood. That was why he was so excited and wanted to give Yi Tianyun more rewards. Originally, 2 divine tools and the soul accumulating grass were already very generous. Who knew that there would be other rewards? Although many people couldn't open this box, everyone could see that it wasn't difficult to open it if they knew how to do it. 2 sacred artifacts and the like were already very satisfactory rewards. Since shopkeeper Yi had chosen to give them as gifts, Yi Tianyun wouldn't refuse anything. He would take as much as he wanted. Shopkeeper Yi didn't take out any pills. He took out a piece of paper from his storage ring and quickly wrote something on it. A pill recipe appeared in his hand and he passed it to Yi Tianyun. "This is the soul accumulating pill, a pill recipe that can truly unleash the effects of the soul accumulating grass to the extreme. I thought you would know how to concoct the soul accumulating pill, but it turns out that you only know how to concoct the soul accumulating pill." Soul accumulating pill. Yi Tianyun took the pill recipe and found that it was completely different from the soul accumulating pill. There were a few more spirit herbs in it, but he wasn't very sure about the effects. However, shopkeeper Yi had said that the pill that could unleash the full effects of the soul accumulating grass wasn't the soul accumulating pill, but the soul accumulating pill. Yes, the effects are at least twice as strong as the soul accumulating pill. This pill recipe is very rare. I got it from a divine runestone grandmaster. He's a very strong divine rune grandmaster, much stronger than that grandmaster just now. Shopkeeper Yi snorted coldly. He was very unhappy with Grandmaster Tianqing. "It's a pity that I don't know where he went. Otherwise, he would definitely be able to open this box and I wouldn't have to waste so much energy here." Shopkeeper Yi laughed. "But since you're fated, I'll give you this pill recipe. It'll be very helpful to your cultivation of divine runes. I believe that in the future, you will definitely become a grandmaster of divine inscriptions. Shopkeeper Yi didn't think that Yi Tianyun had reached the pinnacle of the divine inscriptionist realm. That move of his earlier didn't require too much skill, hence he didn't think that Yi Tianyun's level of attainment was particularly high. Any higher and he would at most be at the level of a divine inscriptionist. Hence, Shopkeeper Yi decided to encourage him. Shopkeeper Yi wasn't a divine inscriptionist, so he couldn't tell what was going on earlier. What they didn't know was that Yi Tianyun's strength was truly at the level of a grandmaster in divine inscriptions. If not, there would be no way for him to inscribe the divine inscriptions. The difficulty was simply too high. Yi Tianyun didn't refute anything. He didn't care what Shopkeeper Yi thought. Successfully completed side quest help Shopkeeper Yi open treasure chest. Reward, 30 million EXP, 100,000 crazy points. Shopkeeper Yi's favorability increased by 100 points. Easy to get a lot of EXP and a lot of crazy point. This kind of task is the more the better. There are other rewards outside. Yi Tianyun likes this kind of task the most. Thank you for your kind words. Compared to this, I need more soul accumulating grass. I wonder how many Shopkeeper Yi has. No matter how many, just give me a price, I can buy it with money. Yi Tianyun smiled. What could be more important than soul accumulating grass? Saint tools and other things were not important to him. What he needed was a lot of EXP. Weapons and the like were just external objects. His own cultivation was always the foundation. It seems that you value soul accumulating grass very much. Soul accumulating grass isn't that high in grade, but it's extremely rare. I don't have more even if you want it. I only have 3 here, I don't have more. Shopkeeper Yi shook his head and said, in terms of rarity, soul accumulating grass is comparable to a 6th grade spirit herb, but its effect is far less than a 6th grade spirit herb. It's too difficult for you to get more of it. Okay, Yi Tianyun was very helpless. He wanted a lot of soul accumulating grass, but it seemed that he couldn't satisfy him at the moment. Immediately, Shopkeeper Yi took out 3 soul accumulating grass and some spirit herbs and handed them to Yi Tianyun and said, this is soul accumulating grass, plus some spirit herbs, you can refine 3 portions of soul accumulating pill. You can find a good alchemist to help you refine it. I can refine it for you, but I'm not free at the moment. If you're not in a hurry, you can come back to me in a few months, I can refine it for you for free. That's not necessary, I can handle it myself. Thank you Shopkeeper Yi for the pill. Yi Tianyun thanked him. Everyone takes what they need, it's normal. Shopkeeper Yi smiled, I'm busy right now. If you have anything you want, tell my disciple and I will sell it to you at a good price. That's not necessary for now, we'll be leaving first. Yi Tianyun didn't care about the other spirit herbs at all. Since he was done with his business, it was time to leave. That's fine, you can come visit when you have time. Shopkeeper Yi's attitude towards him changed drastically. To him, this helped him a lot, of course he was happy. After Yi Tianyun left, Pu Ren looked at the box and asked, Master, inside this box, after being outside for so many years, we've finally opened this box. This means we can go back. Shopkeeper Yi's eyes flashed, pack up, we'll go back after a while. Finally, we can go back. Pu Ren's eyes lit up. I thought it would take a few decades before we can go back. No need, the elder gave me this order, we can go back after I complete it. I don't know what's going on in the clan now, no one came to pick us up for a long time. Shopkeeper Yi frowned, did something bad happen? How is that possible? Who can hurt us? Pu Ren's eyes were cold, and there was a fire in them. After Yi Tianyun and the others left, Ren Liangchen and the others stayed in Guangyun City. Maybe they could go out for a walk, but they could just stay here as a meeting point. I'll come back after a while, but I don't know how long I'll be back. Anyway, I'll come back after I finish my business, Yi Tianyun said. Okay, we'll wait here for boss to come back. The 3 of them nodded, indicating that they didn't plan to go anywhere. They just needed to cultivate and break through here. After a bit of closed-door training, Yi Tianyun might come back. After explaining, Yi Qianyun quickly flew out and began to fly in the direction of the phoenix nest. But before he went, he found a cave and flew in, and began to refine the divine accumulation pill. He wanted to see how terrifying the effect of the divine accumulation pill was. Maybe it could help him level up immediately. Hurry up and try refining it. Yi Qianyun took out the soul accumulation grass and began to refine the divine accumulation pill. At first, he aimed for the 4th refinement, but the success rate was only 80%. One had to know that refining the soul accumulation pill, the 4th refinement was already 100% success rate, and the 5th refinement was close to 80%, but the 4th refinement was only 80%. Chapter 489. It was beyond his expectations that the 5th refinement level would drop so low. His immortal flame had been upgraded before, and its level had increased greatly. Facing the divine accumulation pill, his 5th refinement level had dropped like a cliff. It had dropped to 20% in an instant. It was terrifying. The divine accumulation pill is just a 4th grade pill. It is no different from the soul accumulation pill, but the difficulty has increased so much. Yi Qianyun was taken aback. He did not expect the difficulty to increase so much when refining a pill of the same level. Just as shopkeeper Yi had said, the divine accumulation pill could bring out the full potential of the soul accumulation grass. It was just that the difficulty had increased greatly. This situation was not unheard of, but it was common. Many pill recipes were of the same grade, but the difference in difficulty was like heaven and earth. This was just like the difference between a divine rune grandmaster and a divine rune grandmaster was like heaven and earth. Forget it, I'll just go for the 4th refinement. The 5th refinement is too difficult. Even if he activated the lucky halo, he would only have a 50% success rate. That was because the lucky halo could only provide so much success rate. Unless he continued to level up, there was a possibility of increasing the success rate. After deciding, he immediately started refining. Because the success rate was not low, and with the help of the alchemy furnace, the success rate increased again. He was not afraid of failure. Ding! Successfully refined the divine accumulation pill. Obtained 500,000 experience points, 1,000 proficiency point. He had easily refined them without any difficulty. For someone of his level, refining these pills was not a problem at all. So this is the divine accumulation pill. The effects are completely different. Yi Qianyun looked at the pearl-like pill in his hand. The rich fragrance wafted into his nose. It was quite tempting. Activate crazy pill effect mode. After activating it, even the experience pill would have twice the effect. Previously, it was limited to recovery pills. But after the upgrade, even the experience pill could have this effect. Let me see how much experience it is. Yi Qianyun swallowed the pill with anticipation, and just as he swallowed it, he heard a pleasant voice in his ear. Ding! Successfully obtained 100 million experience point. Yi Qianyun was stunned. 100 million experience points. What a terrifying number. This meant that even if he didn't use the crazy elixir mode, he would still have 50 million experience points. It must be known that under the 4th refinement mode, the maximum he could get was 15 million. This meant that it had tripled. Even under the condition of the 5th refinement, it had almost doubled. This effect was really too shocking. Sure enough, the effects of the soul accumulating grass had been maximized. It was shocking to gain so much experience in one go. At this time, Yang suddenly jumped out of the pet pen and grabbed one of the pills. She stuffed it into her mouth and swallowed it. She then looked at Yi Qianyun angrily and said, "Daddy, why didn't you call me out when there was good food?" When Yi Qianyun saw Yang jump out, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He didn't expect her to jump out at this time. Sure enough, when there was no one around, she would automatically run out, especially when she saw delicious food. Yi Qianyun hastily stuffed the divine accumulation pill into his mouth and obtained another 100 million experience points. He could let Yang eat any other pill, but he couldn't let her eat the accumulating soul pill. After all, this was an experience pill, a necessity for him to level up. "Daddy, I want to eat more." Yang was fuming. She had stayed in the pet space for too long. Naturally, she felt very angry, especially when she was secretly eating. I'll give it to you. Promise me that you won't fight with me for these pills, okay? Yi Tianyun tried to persuade Yi Tianyun. No problem, who told you to keep me inside? I always wanted to come out, but who knew that you were secretly eating delicious food outside? Yang angrily said. Cough, cough, I will give you other pills now. Eat slowly, okay? Yi Tianyun took out a few bottles of good pills. They were all very suitable for Yang to consume. After Yang received them, her eyes lit up and she crazily ate them as if she was eating jelly beans. If an ordinary cultivator took care of Yang, they definitely wouldn't be able to raise her. Eating pills like jelly beans, who could afford to raise her? When Yi Tianyun saw that Yang had stabilized, he heaved a sigh of relief. He then continued to refine pills. His goal was naturally still to refine pills of the fourth refinement. The difficulty of refining the fifth refinement was too high. When his level increased, he would consider refining the fifth refinement. Soon, the remaining 2 furnaces of divine accumulation pills were finished. Adding up to a total of 6 divine accumulation pills, it represented 600 million experience point. Daddy, this is more fragrant. Yang looked at Yi Tianyun and her saliva almost flowed out. She didn't eat the pills, but she felt that the pills were very fragrant. The higher the grade, the stronger the fragrance. Cough, cough, I can't let you eat this for now. Be good, listen to me. Just eat those pills, I will give you better pills later. Yi Tianyun comforted her. Okay, I will keep my promise. Yang stopped looking at Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun quickly stuffed the pills into his mouth. Soon, the 6 pills were digested and turned into 600 million experience points. It was definitely a huge amount. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully breaking through to the 6th level of Void Spirit stage. In such a short period of time, Yi Tianyun broke through to the 6th level of Void Spirit stage easily. It was a pity that the amount of soul accumulation grass was too little. As shopkeeper Yi said, its rarity was comparable to a 6th level spiritual medicine. If there was a large amount of it, it would probably explode in a short period of time. The next level requires 800 million experience points. This is too much. Yi Tianyun shook his head when he saw the amount of experience points needed. It was really difficult to level up. Even the soul accumulation pill required a lot of them to level up. Now that it became a soul accumulation pill, it required 8 pills to level up. It's about time. Yang, let's go. I will bring you home. Yi Tianyun dragged Yang out of the cave. Go home? Yang asked doubtfully. Yes, go home. You will know when the time comes. Yi Tianyun smiled and flew out of the cave with her. They flew towards the phoenix nest at the fastest speed. I wonder what the situation is like in the phoenix nest now. Under the guidance of his soul, he got closer and closer to the phoenix nest. After passing through several areas, a fiery red forest came into view. Looking carefully, he found that it was filled with fire parasol trees. Fire parasol trees were the phoenix's favorite resting place. Coupled with the strong guidance of his soul, it was obvious that he had arrived at the phoenix nest area. Looking up, other than the fire parasol trees, there were still more fire parasol trees. Obviously, a big formation was set up to hide the phoenix nest. Chapter 490. Looking at the endless fire parasol tree, Yi Tianyun quickly flew down with Yang. Just as they landed, Yang looked around, her beautiful eyes revealing some doubts. Daddy, I feel so familiar here, I feel so at ease. Yang immediately felt a sense of familiarity. Regardless of whether she had been here before, the main thing was that the environment here was very suitable for her to live in, which was why she had this feeling. Yes, this is your home, but it's a bit troublesome to find. Yi Tianyun glanced around. This place was quite hidden, and the person who set up the formation was definitely a powerful person, so it was not easy to see through it. In order to find some clues, he opened his heavenly eye and took a panoramic view of the environment. He found that the surrounding fire parasol trees had small divine patterns carved on them. The carvings were quite hidden, just inside the fire parasol trees. From the outside, it was impossible to see them clearly. Of course, this was not the main point. So many divine patterns did not have any offensive effect, nor did they have any illusion effect. They were mainly used to detect intruders. This meant that when Yi Tianyun came in, he would be detected immediately, and the information would be passed to the phoenix nest, so that people would notice the situation here. Yi Tianyun did not care about these things. He held Yang Er's little hand and strode inside. He was not worried about being discovered at all, or rather, it should be said that he was worried about being discovered. He did not intend to break through the formation by force, he just wanted to wait for someone to come out and guide him in, which would undoubtedly be much more convenient. If he forced his way in, the other party would not praise him, and it was very likely to cause anger, so it was best to wait for someone to come out and help him. Immediately after, he walked in with Yang Er, but along the way, no one came out to stop him. Nothing happened at all. This made him feel very strange. Logically speaking, someone should have come to help him very soon. They were considered intruders, so shouldn't there be a guard? Unexpectedly, along the way, nothing happened, not even a shadow was seen. As he continued to go deeper, he quickly sensed that there were people in front of him. The next moment, his eyes turned cold, and he quickly kept Yang Er in the pet space. Then, his body leaned to the side, sticking to the tree trunk. In the blink of an eye, he concealed his body and merged with the tree trunk. Concealment skills were very useful. As long as one's cultivation was high enough, they would be able to display a very good effect. As soon as he hid himself, two figures appeared in front of him. Their cultivation levels were not high. They were only at level 6 or level 7 of the core formation stage. Both of them were wearing black clothes with the word dark embroidered on them. Strange, I felt someone was here just now. How come they disappeared in a blink of an eye? One of the core transformation stage cultivators asked. Did you sense wrongly? I didn't sense anything. Another core transformation stage cultivator said. Could it be that I sensed wrongly? The cultivator looked around. When he really couldn't see anyone, he could only give up. It doesn't matter if he has people or not. We're all here to do business. The results of the negotiation are coming out soon. The Phoenix race won't agree at all. The Phoenix race really doesn't know what's good for them. The situation is so dangerous now, but they still refuse to let us help them. The arrogance of the Phoenix clan is well known. It would be perfect if they could pledge allegiance to our heavenly netherworld divine nation. They chatted as they left, returning to the side area. Yi Tianyun, who was hiding on the side, frowned. In order to let the Phoenix race find him, he didn't hide his aura. He didn't expect that he would attract the attention of the people from the heavenly netherworld divine nation. Seeing that they weren't from the Phoenix race, he immediately hid himself. Especially when he saw the word dark, he felt a bit disgusted. Because he thought of Ming Chen. He wondered if Ming Chen was an expert from the heavenly netherworld divine nation. I don't know why there are so many cultivators here. Could it be that they want to occupy the Phoenix nest? Yi Tianyun walked closer and closer to the Phoenix nest. He found that there were a lot of cultivators in front of him. The strongest cultivator was at the void spirit stage, and the weakest cultivator was at the core transformation stage. There were at least 20 to 30 cultivators here, and all of them were at the core transformation stage or above. Among them, there were at least 4 or 5 void spirit stage experts. This was a shocking lineup. However, they all obediently stayed here and did not have any intention of attacking the Phoenix nest. In front of them, there were 4 guards of the Phoenix race. They all had the distinctive features of the Phoenix race, phoenix feathers. They were also at the core transformation stage, and one of them was at the void spirit stage. Judging from their imposing manner, it could be said that they were overwhelming. The middle-aged man, who was the leader of the guards, was at the void spirit stage. There was a passage behind him, and it should lead to the inside of the Phoenix nest. However, these people could only stay outside, and they didn't dare to step into the passage. The power of the Phoenix race was not something that could be easily provoked. It seemed that these cultivators didn't come here to cause trouble. They must be here to negotiate something. No wonder no one came to stop me. It turns out that they have something to do. Yi Tianyun didn't go out. He just hid on the side and observed the situation. He didn't dare to go out as these people were here. After staying here for a long time, he finally heard a little movement inside the passage. A few figures came out and discussed with each other along the way. Elder Luo, I hope you can think about it carefully. I believe that except for us, there is absolutely no one who can solve this problem. A familiar voice came from inside, which made Yi Tianyun frown. He felt that the voice was very familiar, and he wondered if he heard it wrong. Soon, the figure came into view. It was a handsome man. He had never seen his face before, but the voice was very familiar. It was Ming Chen. Ming Chen, 6th layer Spirit King stage. Wearing the divine armor of the Netherworld. The Netherworld fire surges around his body. Martial arts, Netherworld divine palm, Netherworld divine art, Netherworld dragon possession, etc. Weakness, extreme fire. Combat power, 320 million, normal state. Kill him and you will get rewards. Ming Chen. Yi Tianyun's eyes turned cold. He didn't expect to meet an acquaintance here. Sure enough, the heavenly Netherworld divine nation was the force that Ming Chen belonged to. Thinking of what Ming Chen said, Yi Tianyun's eyes turned cold, and killing intent surged in his heart. Ming Chen looked at Yi Tianyun and quickly waved his hand. A Netherworld cold light pierced through Yi Tianyun's body. However, Yi Tianyun's reaction speed was faster than Ming Chen. He quickly dodged to the side and completely concealed his aura. Following that, the nether cold light penetrated through a dozen fire parasol trees and exploded at the side of a distant fire parasol tree. With a bang, a large area of fire parasol tree was burned and turned into ashes. Chapter 491. Lord Ming, what do you mean by this? Elder Luo, who was next to him, looked angry. He suddenly attacked that side, and it was an attack in his own territory, which immediately caused his anger. It's okay, I suddenly felt that someone was trying to kill me, so I couldn't help but attack. I don't know if I was hit or not, please don't mind. Ming Chen smiled indifferently. Everything was so casual and he didn't put Elder Luo in his eyes. Killing intent. Elder Luo's face darkened. He looked at the place where Ming Chen attacked but didn't say anything. In any case, Elder Luo, please think about it carefully. We don't care, but you are different. Ming Chen smiled and waved his hand. Let's go. Then, he sat on the dragon carriage that had been prepared for him. In front of the carriage was a core transformation stage dragon. The dragon carriage was luxuriously decorated, which was a symbol of his status. Accompanied by a dragon's roar, the dragon carriage flew up into the sky. The other cultivators could only fly beside it. According to the flying speed of the dragon, it was much slower than Ming Chen, but this was a symbol of his status. That's strange. That killing intent disappeared so quickly. Is his concealment technique that strong? Who on earth is it that wants to kill me? Is it the Phoenix clan? Ming Chen frowned, and a bit of killing intent flashed in his eyes. Forget it, there are many people who want to kill me. The Phoenix clan is really ignorant. I want to see how long you can last. And that kid, after I finish my business here, I will definitely go to the Phoenix clan in person. He broke the rules and went to the Phoenix clan. He seemed to recall the pain of having his soul crushed. He waved his hand and released an attack in all directions. It didn't land on his own people. Instead, it landed on the ground and exploded. The cultivators who happened to pass by were all blown away by this attack. The casualties were unknown. The surrounding guards were not surprised. As long as the attack didn't hit them, the rest had nothing to do with them. After Ming Chen left, Elder Luo frowned and said coldly, I don't believe that there is no one who can help us solve this problem except for the heavenly Netherworld Divine Kingdom. Elder Luo, did you reach an agreement? The guard next to him asked. No, the price of the heavenly Netherworld Divine Kingdom is too high. They asked for 5 phoenix eggs and 20 drops of phoenix blood essence. When Elder Luo talked about this matter, she felt very angry. No one could accept this price. 5 phoenix eggs and 20 drops of royal blood essence. Isn't this asking price too high? It's like he wants to eat us. The guard was furious. This greatly exceeded their bottom line of expectations. 5 phoenix eggs was equivalent to giving away 5 phoenixes to the outside world. Just this point alone could not be negotiated. Elder Luo stretched out his hand and signaled them not to speak. He stared at the direction not far away, and soon a figure came out from inside. It was Yi Tianyun. He didn't hide this time. If he wanted to enter the Phoenix clan, he would have to enter from here. There were a lot of strong cultivators in the Phoenix nest, and if he barged in, he would be courting death. Elder Luo was already at the 7th layer Spirit King stage. As expected of a Divine Nations faction, having a Spirit King stage powerhouse was absolutely a common occurrence. Although they weren't everywhere, at least they weren't rare. Chen, you are quite courageous. Just now, it was you who wanted to kill Ming Chen, right? Elder Luo looked at him from head to toe. He didn't show any hostility towards Ming Chen. There was no doubt that he hated the Heavenly Netherworld Divine Kingdom. Elder Luo didn't like the Heavenly Netherworld Divine Kingdom either. Yes. Yi Tianyun nodded and didn't deny it. He was the only one in this area, so he couldn't deny it even if he wanted to. May I know what you are doing here? Elder Luo looked at him and said indifferently. Although you want to kill Ming Chen and hate the Heavenly Netherworld Divine Kingdom, you should know that the Phoenix clan has never welcomed human cultivators, right? Elder Luo's words were equivalent to an expulsion order. If it weren't for the Heavenly Netherworld Divine Kingdom, the guard would have already kicked him out and killed him. Humans often came to rob the Phoenix clan's various resources. I know this, but I was asked to bring your people back. Yi Tianyun said solemnly. Bring our people back. Elder Luo's eyes narrowed. Immediately, Yi Tianyun didn't give too much explanation. He waved his hand and Yang Er appeared in front of them. As soon as she came out, Yang Er grabbed Yi Tianyun's arm tightly and stared at them, not daring to approach them. She wasn't so lively when she saw strangers, and she wouldn't run out of the pet space at will. This is your people. Her mother asked me to bring her back before her soul dissipated. Yi Tianyun said. This. Elder Luo looked at Yang Er and was stunned. After carefully looking at her up and down for a moment, her eyes turned red. Too similar. Is she Luo Huang's child? Too similar. He walked over and wanted to pick up Yang Er. Yang Er quickly hid behind Yi Tianyun and shouted. Who are you? My father is very powerful. Father. Elder Luo looked at Yi Tianyun and said, your father is not him, although he is already. Yi Tianyun was embarrassed. He was sure that he was not her father, but he couldn't help it. I'm sorry, I've been taking care of her, so she thinks of me as her father. Yi Tianyun said awkwardly. It's okay. Please come in. You don't have to stay here. Elder Luo gestured to Yi Tianyun to hurry in. His attitude suddenly changed. He immediately looked at Yang Er and said, I am your grandfather, not a bad person. Yang Er stared at him with her beautiful eyes and asked curiously, Grandfather? I don't know you. Elder Luo was embarrassed. He looked up at Yi Tianyun and said, you're too young. If you're older, you should be able to remember something. They all had corresponding inherited memories, so there was no need to worry about this situation. So not long after they were born, they knew some martial arts. Yang Er knew some martial arts now, but she didn't have the opportunity to use it. I understand. It's just that I was entrusted with a task, so I brought it back. As soon as he said that, a light fell from the sky and lifted the oath he made. At the same time, a voice sounded in his ear. Ding, successfully completed side quest. Send Little Fire Phoenix back to Phoenix Nest, fulfill Phoenix's wish, reward 200 million EXP, 1 million Crazy Point, 300 Prestige Point, 100 Phoenix Clan Favorability. Successfully accepted side quest. Help Phoenix Clan solve their problem, reward, 100 million EXP, 500. 000 Crazy Points, 100 Phoenix Clan Favorability. Chapter 492. This light, of course, was not the light of completing the task, but the light of completing the oath. Elder Luo's eyes lit up. It was really an oath to send her here. It seems that you also made an oath. Elder Luo was surprised. Yes, at that time, Yang Er's mother did not believe me, so I could only make an oath. Yi Tianyun shrugged helplessly. This is indeed a bit of a contradiction with the human race. Elder Luo was a little embarrassed, and immediately looked at Yang Er and said, You called her Yang Er? Yes, Her mother called her Yang As for her real name, I don't know. Yi Tianyun smiled lightly. Yang Elder Luo's eyes lit up, and immediately asked, "Can you tell me the details?" Yi Tianyun nodded and told the general story. After listening to it, Elder Luo's expression was angry. It turned out to be hiding in the mortal world. No wonder I couldn't find her at that time. What happened? How could this happen? Yi Tianyun did not know the reason, but he knew that if she was not being chased, this would not have happened. The vitality of the phoenix was extremely tenacious. As long as it was not an absolutely fatal injury, it would definitely be able to survive. But she died like this, which meant that she had suffered a cruel attack. This is not clear. At that time, Huang went to look for elixirs, then disappeared, and we couldn't find her. Elder Luo's face was full of regret. If only I didn't let her walk around at that time, then this would not have happened. A deep sense of self-blame welled up in his heart, and his eyes turned red. He had originally thought that he was still alive, but he was just staying in some place to live. Now, the sudden change had caused him to suffer an even greater blow. In an instant, Elder Luo's expression became a little older, and he could not even walk steadily. His body swayed a few times. "Elder Luo." The guard next to him hurriedly wanted to support him. "I'm fine." Elder Luo sighed deeply, looking at Yang his heart did not know what to feel. "Grandpa, are you okay?" Yang poked her head out from Yi Tianyun's side at this time, and couldn't help but ask. Her eyes were also full of worry. Although she didn't have any memories, the feeling of being connected by blood made her feel a little sad. "Child, I'm fine." Elder Luo smiled gently, but her eyes were still full of sadness. She immediately looked up at Yi Tianyun and said, "It seems that Yang only wants to follow you. I'll arrange for you to stay first. Since you brought Yang back, you're our guest. We have to treat you well." Elder Luo gestured to the guard next to her. "Take them to Qingya residence and arrange for them to stay there." "Elegant residence, isn't that?" Just as the guard was about to say something, Elder Luo glared at him and nodded obediently. "Okay, I'll take them there. Have a good rest. You must be tired from the journey. I'll come and find you after I'm done here." Elder Luo finally looked at Yang Although he was very happy to see Yang did not follow him, so he could only give up for the time being. Plus, there were a lot of things to do now. Family matters could only be put aside for the time being. "This way, please." The guard's attitude was very polite. As long as they could help the Phoenix clan, they would be especially grateful. Under the guidance of the guard, many people from the Phoenix clan looked at them with surprise. They looked at Yi Tianyun and Yang next to him. How could a human come in here? The key was that Yang was too unfamiliar. They had never seen her before. There were not many people from the Phoenix clan, and with their strong cultivation, let alone 1,000 people, even if there were 100,000 people, they could easily remember them. A strong cultivation meant a strong memory, otherwise, how could they comprehend so many things? The Phoenix clan looked at him, and Yi Tianyun also looked around. There were fire parasol trees everywhere, and even the houses were mainly made of wood from the fire parasol trees. It looked very beautiful and fiery red. Similarly, the spiritual energy here was rich, and it was mainly filled with fire attribute spiritual energy. Under normal circumstances, spiritual energy without attributes could be absorbed by any type of physique. Now that it was filled with fire attribute spiritual energy, it meant that the physique of the fire attribute was strengthened. This was the territory of the Phoenix clan, and it was definitely filled with fire attribute spiritual energy. It was an excellent cultivation environment for them. If the physique of the water attribute were to cultivate here, it would be a nightmare for them. Their cultivation speed would definitely be greatly reduced, so it was better to stay outside. It seems that there are a lot of people here. Yi Tianyun thought that there were very few people here. After all, it was a mythological beast, so it should be relatively rare. But it seemed that there were a lot of people here. Looking up, there were endless houses, and it seemed that there were at least tens of thousands of people here. Yang also looked around curiously. She was curious about this place that filled her with peace of mind. Soon, they came in front of an exquisite courtyard. The outside was surrounded by a fine fence, and there were also small flowers planted on the side. It looked very beautiful. There was a simple house inside, and it seemed that no one lived in it. But it seemed that it was clean, and there was not a single leaf in the courtyard. You will live in this house. Live and use it as you please. The guard motioned them to go in. Yi Tianyun nodded and walked in with Yang The guard did not leave, and stood outside, guarding them. In fact, it was to monitor them. Although Yi Tianyun came with Yang they were worried that they would run around. It was not a good thing to let an outsider run around in one's own home. If they entered a forbidden area, it would be quite a serious matter. Yi Tianyun was still well behaved, and there were many strong people here. Unless he wanted to die, he would not wander around here at will. This place is really unique. It looks very simple, and the matching looks reassuring. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. He did not need to guess anything. He knew that this hut should be the house where Luo Huang lived when she was alive, and Elder Luo was her father. Daddy, I seem to have been here before. Yang frowned, feeling as if she had been here before. Well, you have a good look around here. Yi Tianyun motioned to Yang to walk around this hut, so that she could remember more things. Presumably, she was still in Luo Huang's belly at that time. Due to her memory, she was more or less inside. Sure enough, it was true that cultivation began in the mother's womb. The mythological beast clan was so strong. When they were in the mother's womb, they had a little inherited memory, and began to thrive. He sat down in the pavilion on the side, watching Yang run into the house, and smiled slightly. He knew that this was a short rest, and soon a big battle would come. Chapter 493. Yi Tianyun walked straight upstairs and saw that Yang was already lying on the bed, sleeping soundly. He smiled faintly and covered her with the bedding as he slowly walked downstairs. At this time, Elder Luo came in from the outside. In fact, he had been here for a while, but because he saw Yi Tianyun covering Yang with the quilt, he didn't go up to disturb them. Elder Luo, you're here. Yi Tianyun knew that Elder Luo was coming, so he immediately came down. Well, things have been dealt with for the time being. I'm sorry for not taking care of you properly. Elder Luo said apologetically. It's okay, this must be the place where Yang mother lives. Yi Tianyun asked casually. Yes, this is the place where Huang lives. I often ask people to clean it. I thought she would come back to live here, but who knows? Elder Luo sighed deeply. Who would have thought that his daughter would die before him? Elder Luo said angrily. If I find out who did this, I will definitely cut him into pieces. Elder Luo released his terrifying aura, and the leaves that had just fallen were instantly shattered into pieces. And this is under the situation of restraining his aura, otherwise, when it really erupts, one can imagine how powerful it would be. Elder Luo is an 8th layer Spirit King stage cultivator. This is the strongest existence that Yi Tianyun has seen so far. Elder Luo is an 8th layer Spirit King stage cultivator. Even if he tried his best, it would still be quite difficult to deal with him. It's a pity that when Yang mother entrusted her to me, she didn't say anything and just asked me to send her to the phoenix nest. Yi Tianyun shook his head. It seems that Luo Huang felt that he didn't have enough strength to take revenge. The key thing is that he can send her back to the phoenix nest. I will send someone to investigate this matter thoroughly. I must find out the truth. Elder Luo said with a terrible expression. His daughter is dead, how can he not be angry? Immediately, his eyes softened as he looked at Yang upstairs. Fortunately, Yang survived, which made him feel a little relieved. Yi Tianyun nodded his head. He was going to be a little distracted in this matter. In any case, Yang had called him father. So, he had to help. No matter what, thank you for bringing Yang back this time, otherwise, I wouldn't have known that he was still alive. Elder Luo sighed and immediately looked at him and said, I don't need to say much. Since you brought Yang back, the Phoenix clan will never treat you badly. Come with me. Elder Luo glanced at the guard, and the guard nodded, indicating that there was no problem. Yang was sleeping up there, so he let him watch over her. Yi Tianyun followed them out. On the way, Elder Luo asked, is there any requirement for remuneration? Since you've brought Yang back, we definitely won't treat you unfairly, so we'll still give you the reward you deserve. But before that, what kind of treasure do you need? Actually, I just want the soul accumulating grass. The more the better. Yi Tianyun smiled. He didn't want any treasures, sacred tools or anything else. Of course, the Phoenix clan wouldn't give him any divine tools. Therefore, he chose the soul accumulating grass, a wonderful thing that could improve his cultivation. Soul accumulating grass? Elder Luo was stunned. He didn't expect Yi Tianyun to propose this kind of reward. He had thought of many rewards, such as sacred tools, elixirs, and so on, but he didn't think of the soul accumulating grass. Yes, I want some soul accumulating grass. If there's a lot of it, I can exchange it with other things. Yi Tianyun thought for a moment and added, this is very important to me. Soul accumulating grass. We don't have it in our clan for the time being. We used to have it, but it's gone. This soul accumulating grass is quite rare, and it's not easy to find it. Elder Luo said apologetically, why don't you choose other treasures? You go first, maybe there'll be something you like. Elder Luo led him all the way inside and saw a lot of guards along the way. Soon, under his lead, they came to a huge temple. This temple was made of fire yuan stones. As soon as they stepped in, they felt a surge of fire spiritual power, which was quite amazing. For a cultivator with a fire attribute physique, cultivating here for a month was definitely equivalent to cultivating outside for a year. Only the Phoenix clan could afford to spend so much money. After entering, the surrounding walls of the temple were engraved with huge phoenixes spreading their wings and flying high in the sky. In addition, there were a few huge phoenixes resting on the side. When they saw them coming in, they casually raised their heads and glanced at them. These phoenixes were unable to transform into humans, and they were just huge phoenixes, like Elder Luo, who had undergone evolution. To put it bluntly, these phoenixes didn't degenerate. They were the most primitive phoenixes. Elder Luo, this is? At this time, an old man came over. When he saw Yi Tianyun, he frowned with a bit of disgust. The human clan was definitely not welcomed here, so it was normal to be looked down upon. Elder Lei, this is a friend who brought back my granddaughter who has been missing for many years. I'll take him to the treasure house to get some rewards. Elder Luo said. This matter didn't spread, so many people didn't know the real situation. You brought back your granddaughter who has been missing for many years. Is she Luo Huang's child? Elder Lei was stunned and immediately nodded, okay, you should give some rewards. But there's no need to bring her into the temple. Elder Luo, you should know the rules, right? He looked at Yi Tianyun with disgust. He didn't change his opinion because of this matter. He was still full of disgust. Elder Lei, what do you mean by this? He brought his granddaughter back from thousands of miles away. Can't you bring him in to visit our Phoenix temple? There are rules, but if you don't even know how to repay a favor, you are not worthy of the rules. Elder Luo was immediately upset. He was very grateful to Yi Tianyun for bringing his granddaughter back. His favorability points were almost 200, which was enough to show how grateful he was. That's what you say, but he is still a human. Other races don't matter, but humans. Temph, they are not good people. Elder Lei snorted coldly and stared at Yi Tianyun coldly. He was disgusted from the bottom of his heart. Yi Tianyun wasn't angry. He could imagine that Elder Lei must have suffered something, or that his loved ones had been done something to by the human clan. Elder Lei, I know you have a prejudice against us, but it doesn't mean that everyone is bad. I hope you can understand. Yi Tianyun said politely. Never seen. Elder Lei snorted coldly and waved his hand. Elder Luo, pay attention to the rules. Rewards are rewards, but don't go too far. After that, he waved his hand and left. He didn't want to stay here any longer. Little brother, I'm sorry, Elder Lei. Elder Luo shook his head and didn't want to go on. It's okay, I can understand. It's nothing more than the people of the Phoenix clan who had their blood extracted. In fact, every race is similar. In order to become stronger, some killings are inevitable. There are bad people, but there are good people. Yi Tianyun said indifferently. Chapter 494. Elder Luo nodded and didn't deny anything. Yi Tianyun was right. No matter which race it was almost the same. It's just that the way they treated each other was different. If the human race had a top-grade fire attribute fruit, the Phoenix clan would definitely snatch it. Elder Luo didn't say much and continued to lead Yi Tianyun inside. After passing through layers of guards, they finally arrived in front of the treasure vault. In front of the treasure vault, there was a Spirit King stage cultivator who was leisurely drinking tea beside the treasure vault. "Hey, Elder Luo. Is this a human?" When the Spirit King stage expert saw Yi Tianyun, there was a hint of hostility in his eyes. If it weren't for Elder Luo, he would have already attacked Yi Tianyun. "Elder Feng, he brought my granddaughter back and told me about Huang Er's situation. In order to repay him, I brought him to the temple to choose some treasures." Elder Luo explained briefly. Could it be? Elder Feng couldn't help but ask, but he didn't continue to ask. "Yes, the white-haired person has to die before the black-haired person." Elder Luo sighed. "My condolences." Elder Feng nodded and said to Yi Tianyun, "Thank you for your kindness. Not many people in the human race would do what you did." His attitude was much better than Elder Lei's from before. After knowing the situation, his attitude immediately eased up. It seemed that not everyone was as extreme as Elder Lei, but they all hated Yi Tianyun from the bottom of their hearts. "Although I should repay you, according to the rules, you can only choose one item. You can't choose more than one." Elder Feng gently pushed the door, and when his palm touched the door, a few rays of light shined on it, and then the door slowly opened, revealing a gap that was just big enough for one person to enter. "I know this rule." Elder Luo took the lead and walked in. Yi Tianyun nodded to Elder Feng and followed. After walking in, the first thing that came into view were countless treasures placed on shelves. The treasures were perfectly categorized into several categories, such as weapons, armors, and even elixirs. Everything that should be here could be found. As a Divine Nation faction, if they didn't even have this, they wouldn't be called a Divine Nation faction. The Phoenix Nest had a Divine Nation's power. Otherwise, the Netherheaven Divine Nation would have attacked it a long time ago, or other forces would have attacked and annexed it a long time ago. His foundation is indeed astonishing. Yi Tianyun glanced over. There were all sorts of sacred tools, elixirs of Tier 5 and Tier 6 and above, Heaven tier martial arts were all displayed here. This kind of foundation was worthy of being a divine nation. Moreover, this was only a small part of it, not all of it. For example, the divine artifacts were not displayed. There were not enough of them to begin with, so it was even more impossible to display them. You can choose one of the treasures here. This is the reward we announced to the public. As long as you have done a great favor to our Phoenix clan, you can come here and choose one after you fulfill the conditions. The reward I'll give you won't be limited to that. You'll just have to follow the rules and choose one of them. Elder Luo did not intend to give him only one treasure. Bringing his granddaughter back was not something that could be repaid with a single treasure. Especially seeing his granddaughter sticking to him so much, it would definitely not have such an effect if he didn't treat her well. For example, if she often extracted her blood essence, would she stick to Yi Tianyun? Elder Luo, do you also hate humans in your heart? Yi Tianyun did not immediately choose the treasure, but asked an awkward question. To be honest, I definitely hate them. If it weren't for you bringing my granddaughter back, my attitude would be the same as the other elders. Elder Luo shook her head and said, so after choosing the treasure, you should leave here. Maybe most people will change their opinion of you, but most of them will not be able to reverse it for the time being. Yi Tianyun nodded. This was the truth. Even if the task was completed, it would be useless to increase the favorability points by 100 points. The reason was very normal, that is, their favorability points were all negative. Even if you add 100 points, it would still be negative. At most, it would be even, and it would not reach the level of favorability. Only Elder Luo, who directly benefited from it, would have a much better attitude towards him. I roughly understand, then I will choose a treasure. Yi Tianyun walked over and kept looking at the shelf to see what was suitable for him. He definitely did not need a weapon. There were no high-grade sacred tools here, so for him, weapons must be excluded. Medicinal pills were also excluded. Taking them would not increase his experience. Only special medicinal pills, such as the accumulating soul pill, would have an experience effect. For example, The 6th grade medicinal pill, the Void Spirit Pill, was very suitable for Void Spirit stage powerhouses to take for cultivation. If he took it, it would have a little effect, but it would increase a little experience. It was really pitiful, at most 1,000,000 experience points. Although 1,000,000 experience points was a lot, it was a 6th grade medicinal pill. Its rarity was comparable to the accumulating soul grass. It would be better to refine it and give it to Shueyun and the others. He did not need weapons, nor did he need armor. In terms of martial arts, heaven-level martial arts were good, but he still did not need it. If he killed a cultivator, he would be able to get it. It was obviously not worth it to choose a martial art here. Moreover, he had many heaven-class martial arts. Finally, he locked his eyes on the alchemy furnace. The Phoenix clan's attainments in fire were very amazing, so basically all of them were alchemists. Originally, he wanted to find a divine rune brush here, but in the end, he found that there were too few divine rune brushes here. At most, they were soul tool level, and there were no sacred tool level divine rune brushes, which was a bit of a pity. There were several sacred tool level alchemy furnaces. Which one to choose was now very obvious. The original purple fire divine furnace could not be upgraded, and its grade was too low, so he urgently needed to upgrade the alchemy furnace. Elder Luo, are there no high-grade divine rune brushes here? Yi Tianyun asked. There is no such thing, our clan has fewer capable people in this field, so there are fewer divine rune brushes here. Elder Luo said truthfully. Well, I will choose this Raging Flames divine furnace. After Yi Tianyun knew, he chose the small cauldron on the side, the surface of which was engraved with a few phoenixes, looking very lifelike, almost as if they were about to come out from the cauldron. You know alchemy? Elder Luo asked doubtfully. A little. Yi Tianyun was modest, he could reach the level of a grandmaster at any time. It should be said that he was only a short distance away from reaching the level of a grandmaster alchemist. Don't forget that he still had a lot of proficiency points that he had not used yet. He wanted to see what skills were lacking tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of proficiency points, and he needed to upgrade them immediately. Chapter 495. If you know how to refine pills, choosing this Raging Flame Divine Furnace is not a good choice. The main reason is that you can't easily control this Raging Flame Divine Furnace. If the grade is too low, it will backfire on you. At the very least, you need to be at the master level to not suffer from backfire. Elder Luo suggested from the side, the heaven-burning divine furnace next to you is a good choice. Overall, it is more gentle. Even a 4th grade alchemist can use it. Elder Luo's suggestion was not nonsense, it was indeed so, but he regarded Yi Tianyun as a lower grade alchemist, not a higher grade alchemist. He looked so young, most people judged the situation by their appearance, but he felt that Yi Tianyun's cultivation was not low, and he had already given him a high evaluation. He felt that Yi Tianyun was only a 5th grade alchemist. A 5th grade alchemist was actually very good, but he still couldn't control the Raging Flame Divine Furnace. Thank you for Elder Luo's suggestion, but I only want this Raging Flame Divine Furnace. Yi Tianyun saw this thing, a master-level alchemist, he could be promoted easily, so there was no pressure to control this Raging Flame Divine Furnace. Well, this is your right to choose. If you are not an alchemist master, I hope you don't use this Raging Flame Divine Furnace at will. Otherwise, you will suffer a backfire. Remember, Elder Luo reminded. I understand. Yi Tianyun nodded and did not refuse his kindness. Elder Luo nodded, took down the Raging Flame Divine Furnace and handed it to Yi Tianyun and said, "This is your reward. Accept it well. I hope it will be of great help to you in the future." Thank you, Elder Luo. Yi Tianyun took it. This was a middle-grade sacred tool. It was not a big deal for them to give it away. For Yi Tianyun, it was of great help. He had quite a lot of weapons and defensive-grade sacred tools, but there was basically no alchemy furnace. He was still using the previous purple fire divine furnace. If it wasn't for the fact that the grade was not very low, he would have already changed it. A saint-level pill furnace was really rare, so sometimes he wanted to change it, but he couldn't find a place to buy it. You don't have to thank me. This is the reward you deserve. In fact, it's not much. Elder Luo smiled. After that, Elder Luo took him out. It was meaningless to continue to stay here. The treasure had been chosen, so there was no need to continue to stay here. After they left, Elder Feng looked over and asked, "What did you choose?" He took out a book and prepared to write down what Yi Tianyun had taken. These were all things that needed to be recorded. Raging Flames Divine Furnace, Elder Luo said. Raging Flames Divine Furnace? Just as Elder Feng was about to note it down, he was stunned when he heard that it was the Raging Flames Divine Furnace. He lifted his head and looked at Yi Tianyun, saying, "This is something that even ordinary pill refinement masters would not be able to master easily. Is it for you to use or for others to use? Or sell it?" "Use it yourself," Yi Tianyun said honestly. "You can control it yourself?" Elder Feng was a little surprised. "It shouldn't be a problem." He said this modestly, not saying that he would definitely succeed. "Your alchemy skills are at the level of a pill refinement master?" Elder Feng was shocked. "Don't continue to ask. This is his choice. We just need to send the reward out." Elder Luo urged him, "Quickly write it down." Only then did Elder Feng write it down. Elder Luo led him outside. "Is there anything else you need?" Elder Luo asked as he led him outside. "I don't need this for the time being. I think this alchemy furnace is enough," Yi Tianyun said with a smile. "There's no need to be polite. You can bring my granddaughter back, so this reward is nothing at all. If I have extra divine artifacts, it's not a problem to give one to you. My granddaughter is priceless," Elder Luo said gratefully. "I don't have any relatives in my life. Now, I only have this granddaughter left." He sighed deeply again. Although he was in the Phoenix clan, who was closer to him than his own family, "I know what you're thinking, but I want to see Yang again before I leave." He was still a little reluctant to part with the little girl who had always called him father. "It's normal for you to have such feelings. In fact, you don't have to be so reluctant. I welcome you to the Phoenix clan at any time. With my token, you can come in and see Yang at any time." Elder Luo smiled very generously. It was definitely a good thing that he cared about his granddaughter. He could see that Yang was very attached to Yi Tianyun, which meant that the relationship between the two was very good. Therefore, he was willing to let Yi Tianyun come over. If Yang hid when she saw Yi Tianyun, Elder Luo would definitely not welcome him. "Thank you very much, Elder Luo. This reward is enough. If I want more, I'm too greedy," Yi Tianyun said sincerely. "Well, since you said so, I won't force you to do anything. You really don't want more rewards? You are really a strange person." Elder Luo shook his head. Yi Tianyun smiled and did not deny anything. If it was someone else, they would have asked for anything. As far as he was concerned, this one was already enough. Being too greedy would easily arouse the disgust of others. When they were ready to go to the elegant residence, a guard hurried over and said, "Elder Luo, not good, there's a problem in the Phoenix Cave." "Problem again? Let's go now." Elder Luo's face sank and immediately looked at Yi Tianyun and said, "You go back to the elegant residence with him first. When the matter is done, I will find you." "Elder Luo, can I go with you?" Yi Tianyun paused and asked. Elder Luo was stunned, and immediately nodded and said, "Okay, you can come with me, but you can only watch from the side, don't walk around." "Thank you, Elder Luo." Elder Luo nodded and flew directly into the sky. Yi Tianyun and the others also flew up. If they walked slowly, their speed would be too slow. Under Elder Luo's lead, they soon arrived near the Phoenix Cave. It was not very far, and they arrived in just a short while. As soon as he got close to the Phoenix Cave, Yi Tianyun saw a huge phoenix statue standing on top of a huge hill. It looked like it was ready to spread its wings and fly away. Under this hill, there was a huge cave, and a continuous stream of flames was spewing out from it. It was quite hot, and the surrounding soil was burned into magma, which continued to spread around. There were already many Phoenix clansmen on the side, absorbing these flames into their bodies. However, when they absorbed into their bodies, they felt incomparable pain. Their expressions were not of enjoyment, but they were getting paler and paler. Yi Tianyun looked at the flames and immediately displayed detailed data with the appraisal eye. Inextinguishable fire, High-grade Earth-level inextinguishable fire. Extreme yang. Ordinary people with extreme yang physiques cannot absorb it. Only extreme yin and cold flames can be extinguished. Chapter 496. The inextinguishable flame was not something that just anyone could casually absorb. Even experts with very high cultivation would find it hard to absorb it. Unless one's own flame was strong enough, it would be extremely difficult to absorb and digest it. Therefore, many cultivators from the Phoenix clan, who seemed to be very powerful, not only did they not benefit themselves after absorbing it, they even harmed themselves instead. It should be said that it was okay to absorb a little, but it would become extremely uncomfortable to absorb too much. As soon as they landed, someone greeted them, and when he was about to say something, his eyes fell on Yi Tianyun, and he frowned and said, "Is this a human?" "Yes, I have something to do here, so I asked him to stay here for a while." Elder Luo explained. "Elder Luo, what do you mean by this? You brought him to the Phoenix Temple before, and now you brought him to the Phoenix Cave?" Elder Lei walked out, feeling very dissatisfied. It was fine to bring him to the Phoenix Temple, but that was to get a reward. Now that the situation here was critical, it was obviously unreasonable to bring him here. "Elder Lei, I know that you have some prejudice. You can be prejudiced against other humans, but please let go of your prejudice against him. He is different from other humans, and more importantly, he brought my granddaughter back." Elder Luo was not happy, and she was very grateful to Yi Tianyun. Now that Elder Lei said this, she was definitely unhappy. "Prejudice? I am just telling the truth, all humans are the same. Perhaps, he wants to use your granddaughter to infiltrate our Phoenix clan," Elder Lei said. It was obvious that he hated humans. He did not trust them at all. "Elder Lei, as Elder Luo said, you can hate any human, even me. But you said that I used Yang to sneak into the Phoenix clan, and I am very unhappy about this. Do you think that I am using Yang Yi Tianyun's voice sank. He completely understood that it was the human race's fault, but he was extremely unhappy that he used a child to sneak into the Phoenix clan. "What? Am I wrong?" Elder Lei sneered. "Humans are not trustworthy at all. They are very insidious, and they go back on their words." Elder Lei was right. There were many people who went back on their words, and there were even more in the Phoenix clan who kept their promises. For example, when it came to the matter of rewards, they would give him what he deserved. If it were some other big forces, they might even kill him, let alone give him any rewards. Enough. Elder Luo's face was terrifyingly gloomy. He looked at Elder Lei and said, "I've said it before. You can say whatever you want about the rest of the human clan. I personally guarantee that he will definitely not be like the other humans." "Oh, Elder Luo, why are you so sure?" Elder Lei asked with a sneer. "Just because my granddaughter likes him, is that enough?" Elder Luo said in a deep voice. Elder Lei was startled. After a moment of silence, he said, "All right then. Since you are his guarantor, keep an eye on him. I hope he doesn't cause any trouble. Both of you stop. What time is it now? You're still arguing?" A dignified voice came from the side, and an old man walked over with a cane, looking at the two of them coldly. "Great Elder." The two of them hurriedly said respectfully, "If you have the time to call me, you might as well hurry up and deal with these flames." The Great Elder snorted coldly and pressed down with his walking stick, creating a hole in the ground. "Yes." The two of them glared at the Great Elder and were ready to deal with the flames. When Elder Luo wanted to say something, the Great Elder glared at him and said, "Hurry up." Elder Luo hurriedly went to deal with the flames, leaving Yi Tianyun alone. Yi Tianyun actually wanted to say, "I want to go too." It was painful for them to absorb so many inextinguishable flames, but it was a different story for him. It was a form of enjoyment. "Little brother, I heard that you brought back Elder Luo's granddaughter." The Great Elder didn't go up to Yi Tianyun, mainly because of his old age. Although the outside world has always called it the immortal phoenix, it is not really immortal. There will still be a limit to its lifespan, but compared to other races, it can definitely live for a long time. Replying to the Great Elder, Elder Luo's granddaughter was indeed brought back by me. Yi Tianyun looked at the Great Elder, and his eyes flashed. The Great Elder's cultivation has actually reached the peak of Spirit King stage. Even if he is old, when he really erupts, it will be absolutely terrifying. To be honest, it's quite rare that you can bring her back. Either you are really kind-hearted, or you are scheming to deceive us. The Great Elder smiled slightly and said, "But I believe that you are the former. As Elder Luo said, that little girl likes you. Our Phoenix clan is very sensitive in this aspect. That little girl knows that you are sincere to her, so she followed you." Yi Tianyun was stunned for a moment. No wonder Elder Lei was silent for a moment. It turned out to be related to this. He was not very good to Yang but he gave her everything, and he didn't have the slightest bit of malice towards her. The Phoenix clan is very sensitive in this aspect, so if he has any malice towards her, Yang will definitely feel it, and then she will definitely stay away from him. Yi Tianyun never had the idea of taking her blood essence, so Yang didn't feel any malice towards him. "Thank you for your trust, Great Elder, but what's going on?" Yi Tianyun is more concerned about this. The evil souls inside the Phoenix Cave can't be suppressed, causing the flames that suppress them to bounce back. Unless someone can go down and reseal these evil souls, they will keep bouncing back to the immortal fire. These immortal fire, even we can't absorb it, unless our king. The Great Elder shook his head and didn't go on. This has already given him a lot of information. Let him know what the general situation is, that is, the evil souls. He thought of the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom. The heavenly netherworld divine kingdom may have some ability in this aspect, so they said that they can help them suppress the evil souls. "Great Elder, I don't know if I can help to absorb the immortal fire. In this aspect, I am quite good at it." Yi Tianyun boldly proposed. "This immortal fire is the fire of extreme yang. If you are not careful, you will be burned by the fire. Are you sure you can do it?" The Great Elder frowned and said, "No problem, because my flame." Yi Tianyun stretched out his hand, and the immortal fire rose up. After the Great Elder saw it, he immediately became sluggish. "No, immortal fire?" The Great Elder looked at him in horror. "A cultivator who can have the immortal fire, what kind of person is he?" "Yes, can I help now?" Yi Tianyun didn't want to see so much immortal fire go to waste. If he didn't show it, the Great Elder would definitely not let him go. "Yes, you can." The Great Elder was very excited, and looked at Yi Tianyun with a little more hope. Chapter 497. After getting permission, Yi Tianyun nodded and immediately walked to the Phoenix Cave in front of him. Soon, others noticed the situation here, especially the elders in front. "Elder Luo, what are your people doing? Why are they here? Are they crazy?" Elder Lei felt quite strange when he saw Yi Tianyun walking over. If he continued to walk over, he would be burned to ashes by the immortal fire. The most strange thing was that the Great Elder did not stop him and just watched from behind. Elder Luo was also stunned. They were already absorbing the immortal fire and could not leave to stop it for the time being, so they could only watch from here. "What are you doing here? Go back!" Elder Luo shouted. "Elder Luo, I'm here to help you deal with these immortal fire." Yi Tianyun smiled faintly. "The Great Elder allowed me to come over." "The Great Elder allowed you to come over?" Both of them were stunned and looked at the Great Elder. They found that the Great Elder's eyes were twinkling and even had a smile on his face, which made them feel very strange. What was going on? Without waiting for them to react, Yi Tianyun waved his hand and cast the heaven swallowing divine art. A large amount of immortal fire rushed towards his body. The amount of immortal fire he absorbed was definitely several times more than what they absorbed. This scene really scared many people. Others absorbed it little by little, but he absorbed so much at once. Did he not want to live? Elder Luo and the others wanted to stop him, but it was too late. They could only watch the immortal fire roll over. They thought that Yi Tianyun would be burned to ashes, but the immortal fire was quickly absorbed into his body, and in the blink of an eye, it disappeared, and it's a continuous absorption. Unlike them, they just need to stop for a while to recover. 1,000 proficiency points, 2,000 proficiency points, 3,000 proficiency points. The proficiency of the immortal fire increased rapidly, and this crazy degree could not be stopped. At this rate, It would not be difficult to break through to the upper-grade Earth-level immortal fire. It should be said that it was quite simple. So far, his immortal fire was not an upper-grade Earth-level flame. Fortunately, it was not difficult to absorb it. Anyway, they were all of the same type, so it would be easier to absorb. Most importantly, his cultivation was not weak. With the two superimposed, it was easy for him to absorb the energy. Looking at this scene, everyone was stunned. They had thought that Yi Tianyun would be engulfed by the immortal flames. Who would have thought that he would be able to absorb a whole bunch of them so easily? From the looks of it, he could continue to absorb it, and there was no need to stop. No way, this immortal flame has no effect on him at all? They are all shocked. The immortal fire that is very painful for them is easily absorbed by Yi Tianyun, and he doesn't even have to gasp. Everyone, don't worry. He already has the inextinguishable flame, so there's no need to worry about being burned to death. The great elder walked over with a crutch and smiled. I didn't expect this little brother to be the lucky star of our Phoenix clan. In addition to bringing back Elder Luo's granddaughter, he can easily absorb the inextinguishable flame. Generally, those who can control the inextinguishable flame have a body of extreme yang. This kind of physique is hard to find in a million people. He can control the inextinguishable flame, it can't be. Isn't the inextinguishable flame only controlled by our king? Only a few of our clansmen have been able to control it. They were all stunned, especially Elder Lei. His heart was even more complicated. They had always said that there was something wrong with Yi Tianyun, but what was wrong with him now? He even began to help them deal with the inextinguishable flame, which was much faster than them. Elder Luo was even more delighted. He's really a lucky star. I knew he was different. From the first time I saw him, I felt that he was different. You're bragging. If he didn't bring back your granddaughter, would you think of him like this? Elder Lei's tone softened, and there was no longer the previous tit-for-tat feeling. It's none of your business. Elder Luo stroked his beard and looked at Yi Tianyun with a smile. The more he looked, the more satisfied he was. Yi Tianyun smiled slightly and did not interrupt. He has been quickly absorbing these inextinguishable flames. Soon, all the inextinguishable flames outside were absorbed into his body and turned into a lot of proficiency. However, there is still a lot to level up. It was very difficult to increase the inextinguishable flame before, and it was only now that he could improve it rapidly. He couldn't accumulate enough experience to level up at once. Now, he has only reached more than half of his proficiency. He has to continue to absorb. However, if he wants to continue to absorb, he has to go inside to absorb. There are a lot of flames at the edge of the cave. Yi Tianyun looked at the Great Elder and asked, "Can I absorb the flames inside?" "Yes, you can absorb it all the way and stop at the entrance of the passage," the Great Elder instructed. Yi Tianyun nodded and immediately walked to the entrance of the cave and continued to absorb. The open space inside the cave was full of inextinguishable flames. It was full here, much more than the outside. It seems that there is a lot to absorb. Needless to say, he immediately continued to absorb madly and did not refuse anyone. The other elders were much more relaxed. They didn't need to come over to absorb at all. Absorbing this inextinguishable flame is not good for them at all. Instead, it is only bad. So cruel, is he really okay? Elder Lei looked up and down at Yi Tianyun. At present, it seems that he is not forcing himself. There is no problem with his complexion, and there is no problem with it. What problem can he have? Didn't you hear the Great Elder say that he can control the inextinguishable flame? Elder Luo smiled and said, "He is the person I brought back. I didn't expect him to help us." "What do you mean you brought back?" "He came by himself, okay?" Elder Lei was so angry that he laughed. How can Elder Luo take this credit for himself? Didn't you want to drive him away just now? If I didn't let him stay, we would have to absorb it here honestly. Elder Luo glared at him and remembered that Elder Lei had quarreled with him just now. He felt very uncomfortable. Elder Lei suddenly felt very embarrassed. This is true. If Yi Tianyun was driven away, he would really have to absorb it here honestly. Okay, stop arguing. In short, this little brother helped us. If it weren't for him, we don't know how long it would take for us to absorb it, let alone go in. In the end, we have to ask for help from the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom, which is something that no one wants to see. The Great Elder said solemnly. They nodded and agreed with the Great Elder's words. If they ask for help from the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom, the price to pay is amazing, and it is definitely not something they want to see. After he finishes absorbing, we will thank him, entertain him, and treat him as a guest of the Phoenix clan. If he can master the inextinguishable young fire, his heart must not be insidious, so we have to make good friends with him. The Great Elder looked at them and said, "Do you understand?" Understood. Elder Lei's eyes were not as hostile as before, and there was a big change immediately. There was still a little shame. Chapter 498. Yi Tianyun didn't care about Elder Lei's state of mind. He didn't want to argue with Elder Lei. Putting himself in their shoes, if he was also a member of the Phoenix clan, he would also feel some hostility toward a human. The two had different statuses, so naturally, their thoughts were different. The human race was the most numerous, so they were aggressive towards the Divine Beast clan. Therefore, the Phoenix clan was easily captured and had their blood extracted and feathers plucked. It was quite cruel. Therefore, it was quite normal for the Phoenix clan to hate the entire human race. Yi Tianyun continued to crazily absorb the flames outside the Phoenix cave and continued to go deeper. The more he absorbed, the more he absorbed. Finally, he heard a pleasant voice. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully upgrading the Immortal Flame to high-grade Earth rank. The next level requires 5 million proficiency. He finally succeeded in upgrading it to high-grade Earth rank. This process was quite amazing. If he were to slowly upgrade it through alchemy, it would take a long time. He didn't know how long it would take to slowly reach this level. It's so cool. It would be great if this speed of upgrading could be maintained. Yi Tianyun felt quite comfortable. However, he needed more proficiency now. It wasn't easy to upgrade. No matter what, he had to absorb the Immortal Flame here first. After crazily absorbing all the way, he finally absorbed the empty cave entrance outside. If he continued to absorb, he would go down the passage. However, from here, he didn't see the Immortal Flame, but thick yin qi. It looked quite gloomy. You don't have to go down. That's the heavenly yin fire. Even with the Immortal Flame, it's difficult to suppress the heavenly yin fire, especially since it can't be cut off. The figures of the Great Elder and the others appeared behind him. When they saw that the Immortal Flame was gone, they walked in from the outside. Heavenly yin fire. Yi Tianyun saw that the heavenly yin fire was actually equivalent to an enhanced version of the netherworld fire. It should be said that it was equivalent to a higher level of the netherworld fire. That was the heavenly yin fire, which balanced the Immortal Flame. No wonder the Netherheaven Divine Kingdom said that they could help. It turned out that they could absorb the heavenly yin fire and the Immortal Flame. As long as one has the powerful heavenly yin fire, they can devour the Immortal Fire. Good boy, I didn't expect you to be able to absorb the inextinguishable fire. It's all thanks to you that we were able to deal with the inextinguishable fire so quickly. Elder Luo laughed and felt that Yi Tianyun gave him a big surprise. If it weren't for him, it would not have been so fast. Thank you very much. I was a little rude before. Elder Lei hesitated for a moment, but he still chose to stand up and express his gratitude, completely putting down his pride. This action was not incited by the Great Elder and the others, but because Elder Lei felt apologetic, which was why he stood up and said it. It's fine. Different people have different opinions. I can understand what Elder Lei is thinking. Yi Tianyun nodded and didn't mind it too much. Yo, Elder Lei, I didn't expect you to be willing to apologize. Elder Luo was a little surprised. Why wouldn't I apologize? Do you think I'm an unreasonable person? I think I made a mistake. Can't I apologize? Elder Lei snorted coldly. Okay, it's my fault. I misunderstood you. Elder Luo patted him on the shoulder and said, next time, come to my place for a drink. When was the last time you came to my place for a drink? Elder Luo, you don't want to hide the wine anymore? Elder Lei's eyes lit up. It seems that I have benefited a little. It's time to celebrate my granddaughter's return. Ahem. The great elder coughed, and the two of them immediately shut up. Now is indeed not the time to talk about this matter. Who knew that the great elder added, going to drink wine, why didn't you call me? Yi Tianyun, who was next to him, really didn't know whether to laugh or cry. They are really optimistic. They just solved a small matter and now they want to discuss celebrating. Although the inextinguishable fire has been cleared, the heavenly yin fire is still emerging. If the evil soul below is not sealed, the heavenly yin fire will definitely continue to appear. But in terms of divine rune masters, have you found any divine rune grandmasters? The great elder's face turned serious and returned to the topic. There are a lot of new divine rune grandmasters, but their level is too ordinary. At least, they need to be at the soul point level. Most of them are at the soul point level. It is too difficult to find a divine rune grandmaster. They shook their heads and said helplessly, we can only wait for news from our clansmen outside. It would be best if we can find one. The divine rune grandmaster level is divided into 3 levels: soul point, eye point, and life point. Different levels represent different levels of standards, and the list is quite detailed. Eye point is the most basic level, soul point is similar to the intermediate level, and life point is similar to the advanced level. The spirit race old ancestor and the state preceptor are at most equivalent to the eye point level, or close to the soul point level. Yi Tianyun feels that he should have reached the eye point level. After all, with the bonus of the heavenly eye, reaching the eye point level shouldn't be a problem. However, he still needs a little more experience to reach the divine rune grandmaster level. He only needs to spend some proficiency points to level up. At that time, combined with the ability of the heavenly eye, reaching the soul point level will definitely not be a problem. He immediately spent more than 100,000 proficiency points on the divine rune grandmaster level, and soon a pleasant voice sounded. Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully leveling up divine rune grandmaster mastery to divine rune grandmaster mastery, finishing touch level. The next level requires 10 million proficiency point. This is really terrible. 10 million proficiency points, who knows how long it will take to earn 10 million proficiency points. The road to leveling up is really long. You want to find a soul point level divine rune grandmaster? Actually, I am a soul point level divine rune grandmaster. Yi Tianyun agreed readily. He has to complete this task, if not, he won't be able to get the reward. You are a soul point level divine rune grandmaster? They all looked at Yi Tianyun in shock. Although they had seen it before, they still looked at him from head to toe, staring at him as if they were looking at a monster. Obviously, they were the real monsters, and the way they looked at Yi Tianyun was more like looking at a monster. Yes, is there a problem? Yi Tianyun looked at their shocked eyes and smiled. If anyone heard this, they would be incomparably shocked. You are really a divine rune grandmaster? They searched for a long time, but to no avail. Unless they went to the Nether Heaven Divine Kingdom for help, it was really difficult to find a soul point level divine rune grandmaster. Chapter 499. Yes, I'm a grandmaster divine inscriptionist, and I'm even at the point soul level. Yi Tianyun repeated himself so that they could hear him clearly. They glanced at each other in dismay. Being able to absorb the inextinguishable flames was already shocking enough, but he was also a grandmaster divine inscriptionist. This couldn't be such a coincidence, right? They just happened to encounter it. Do you want to test it? Yi Tianyun laughed. If they didn't trust him, they definitely had to test him. It's necessary. If you don't meet the standards, your life will be in danger. Hence, we have to do a strict test. This is a responsibility to us, and more importantly, to you. The great elder's expression was solemn. They couldn't afford to be careless. If they were to go down, they would be facing an extremely dangerous situation. Although Yi Tianyun was trustworthy, everything had to be tested first. If he didn't meet the standards, it would be troublesome. Then where do we go for the test? Yi Tianyun asked. We'll go outside for the test. As long as you can inscribe a divine inscription that meets the standards of a grandmaster divine inscriptionist, we'll know if you've met the standards. The great elder's tone was filled with excitement. If he really met the standards, they would be able to solve the problem immediately. Not only could he control the inextinguishable flames, he was also a Grandmaster Divine Inscriptionist. What a lucky star. When they went out, they saw two people walking towards them. Yi Tianyun was stunned when he saw them, and the other person was also stunned. It's you. The two people walking towards them were none other than Shopkeeper Yi and Pu Ren. Shopkeeper Yi, I didn't expect to see you here. Yi Tianyun smiled. He also saw Shopkeeper Yi carrying a box in his hands. It was the box that he had helped him open earlier. I didn't expect it either. Shopkeeper Yi was similarly surprised, especially when he came out with the Great Elder. You two know each other? The Great Elder and the rest were all astonished. Of course I do. Grand Elder, the divine imprint on the chest was opened by this little brother. If not for him, I wouldn't have been able to find someone to open it for me. Shopkeeper Yi patted the chest in his hands as he smiled. The divine runes on the chest were opened by him. The crowd glanced at each other in dismay. They all knew how difficult it was to open this box, and had even invited several grandmasters to try and open it. Some of them even tried to smash the box with brute force, but all of them ended in failure. The degree of toughness of the box was simply unimaginable. Yes, I didn't expect him to appear here, and with you in the Phoenix Cave. It's really strange. What's going on? Shopkeeper Yi was puzzled. Shortly after, they roughly discussed the situation. Only then did Shopkeeper Yi understand what was going on. He was even more surprised by Yi Tianyun's ability. Yi Tianyun also knew the identity of Shopkeeper Yi and the others. They were also members of the Phoenix clan, and Shopkeeper Yi was one of the elders, so he was addressed as Elder Yi. Pu Ren was one of the younger generation of the Phoenix clan, and he was considered a good genius. He had been training with Shopkeeper Yi. The main reason was that Pu Ren was Shopkeeper Yi's nephew, so it was necessary to bring him out to train. So there's such a thing. If I knew that he had this kind of ability, I would have brought him here long ago. Shopkeeper Yi smiled and said, but there's no doubt about his divine inscriptions level. He can even decipher such a difficult divine inscriptions. You said that he's at the level of a grandmaster. I've already guessed this before, but since you've already said so, there's no need for me to test him. Shopkeeper Yi was full of confidence in Yi Tianyun. He felt that he didn't even need to test Yi Tianyun. No, the test still needs to be done. I will just carve a simple divine rune, and you will know after seeing it. Yi Tianyun insisted on carving the divine rune to boost their confidence. Immediately, he took out a divine rune brush, which was of a relatively low grade, and began to carve a Grandmaster divine rune. His speed was neither fast nor slow, and he succeeded in carving a relatively complex divine rune. After carving the divine rune, everyone's eyes lit up. Yi Tianyun was definitely at the level of a Grandmaster divine rune. Perhaps they didn't know how to carve divine runes, but they still understood the level of divine runes. Otherwise, they would have lived for so many years in vain. Not bad, it's really at the level of a Grandmaster divine rune, but the divine rune brush is a bit lacking. They all noticed the divine rune brush in Yi Tianyun's hand. A soul tool divine rune brush was no different from garbage in their eyes. Even if it was thrown on the ground, they wouldn't bother to pick it up. A Spirit King stage cultivator was so domineering. It just so happens that I brought back a few divine rune brushes. When someone came to buy my spirit herbs, they gave them to me to pay off the debt. Shopkeeper Yi took out 3 divine rune brushes and lined them up for Yi Tianyun to choose. Come, didn't you want to help us suppress the evil soul? Just pick one. The 3 divine rune brushes were of different grades. The highest grade was a mid-grade sacred artifact, and the lowest was a low-grade sacred artifact. At least, they were much better than the one in Yi Tianyun's hand. Then I won't stand on ceremony. I'll choose this one. Yi Tianyun didn't choose much and directly chose a dragon beard divine rune brush. It's not the highest grade, just a low-grade sacred artifact. However, this divine rune brush was the most suitable for him. It had the power of a dragon's bloodline, which corresponded to his dragon god's bloodline. Shopkeeper Yi thought that Yi Tianyun would choose a middle-grade sacred tool, as he knew that Yi Tianyun would choose a high-grade sacred tool. Yes, this one suits me. Yi Tianyun didn't hesitate. A sacred artifact divine rune brush, coupled with the talent of the heavenly eye, would undoubtedly make it easier to inscribe divine runes. After choosing the divine rune brush, their eyes immediately turned to the box. This box has been opened. With the treasures inside, it will be much easier to suppress the evil soul, Elder Luo said from the side. Yes, after opening it, I rushed back immediately. Shopkeeper Yi opened the box, and a crazy phoenix fire emerged from it, but it was easily absorbed by him. For him, this was different from the immortal fire, and it was not difficult to suppress it. Without the phoenix fire, what appeared in front of him was a small, fiery red pearl. It looked like a drop of blood essence that had been solidified inside. Phoenix Imperial Blood Essence, top sacred blood, has amazing energy. After absorbing it, the bloodline power in the body will be greatly strengthened, and part of the phoenix's power will be obtained. It can also be used to suppress the power of evil, so it's Phoenix Blood Essence. Yi Tianyun thought it was some kind of treasure, such as a divine artifact. He didn't expect it to be Phoenix Blood Essence, and the Phoenix Imperial Blood Essence. Chapter 500. Yes, it contains the Royal Phoenix Blood Essence. I couldn't open it, so I couldn't take it out to suppress the evil soul. Shopkeeper Yi smiled. Fortunately, you opened it for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to use it here. Why is the Royal Phoenix Blood Essence in this box? Yi Tianyun asked curiously. This was sealed by the ancestors. It can only be used at a critical moment. It's just that it's a little difficult to unseal it. The Great Elder explained. Now that we have the Royal Phoenix Blood Essence, we can suppress the evil soul. This will undoubtedly reduce the pressure a lot. I've always heard about the evil soul. There are evil soul under the Phoenix Cave? Yi Tianyun was puzzled. Yes, there are a lot of evil soul under the Phoenix Cave. A long time ago, there was a race of evil spirit race that attacked our Phoenix clan. In the end, we couldn't destroy them, so we could only choose to suppress them. In order to suppress them, we spent a lot of effort, and many of our relatives left us. The Great Elder sighed. He felt a little pain when he thought of that incident. The other elders showed painful and angry expressions. Fortunately, everything was suppressed. Otherwise, they would have been attacked by the evil spirit race, and their fate would have been even more miserable. Elder Luo sighed, and his eyes showed the same pain. He seemed to be thinking of something, and his eyes were slightly red. This can only be suppressed, not completely destroyed. Yi Tianyun frowned. This meant that after the suppression, once the seal was broken again, it would definitely happen again. No one knew when it would stop. If we could destroy them, we would have destroyed them long ago. We can only use the immortal fire or the Phoenix Blood Essence to suppress them. They are too strong, even our king can't suppress them for the time being. The Great Elder said. Remember, what about the Phoenix clan's patriarch? Yi Tianyun asked. Our patriarch went out to find a way to destroy them. He hasn't returned so far. If the patriarch came back, he would definitely be able to suppress them easily. There's no need to look for the heavenly netherworld divine kingdom. The Great Elder shook his head. How long has your patriarch been gone? Yi Tianyun was stunned. A patriarch going out personally? This was a bit too exaggerated. It's been a long time. It should have been more than a year. Who would have thought that the seal would suddenly be broken? The Great Elder shook his head, feeling rather helpless. At that time, the seal was quite stable and nothing had happened to it. However, it was broken in the blink of an eye. There was only one possibility, and that was that the evil soul had become stronger. So you're saying that you must use the Imperial Phoenix Blood Essence to suppress this evil soul? Yi Tianyun asked. Yes, although you have the immortal flame, it is only limited to suppressing the heavenly yin flame. It is difficult to cause any harm to the evil soul. Look at all those inextinguishable flames, all of them being squeezed out is the best proof. This means that they are too powerful. If you don't use the Phoenix Blood Essence to suppress them, you won't even have the chance to seal them. The Great Elder said in a deep voice, those evil souls are too strong. Even if it was us, it would be difficult to resist them. Yi Tianyun's heart skipped a beat. Were these evil souls really that strong? Didn't this mean that they had reached a higher level, the Saint King stage? The Saint King stage was stronger than the Spirit King stage. In this divine kingdom, the Saint King stage was the real king. If I can suppress them with my own strength, will you give me the Imperial Phoenix blood essence? Yi Tianyun thought for a moment and said. They were startled and looked at each other. The Great Elder looked at him and said, if you could suppress them with your own strength, this Imperial Phoenix blood essence wouldn't be a problem at all. However, you don't know how terrifying that place is. It isn't something that can be easily suppressed. Without the Imperial Phoenix blood essence, you can't suppress them, the Great Elder said firmly. He knew that Yi Tianyun's strength was not weak, but it didn't mean that he could suppress them. What if I can? Yi Tianyun was very interested in the Imperial Phoenix blood essence. It might be able to enhance his strength. Yi Tianyun could say this because he had the title of Soulbreaker. As long as the evil souls were filled with evil spirits, he would be able to suppress them. He didn't know if the Imperial Phoenix blood essence would have an effect on the evil souls, but it was better to say it in advance. If they threw it out immediately and found out later that he could suppress it, wouldn't it be a waste? If it's possible, I can give it to you. The Great Elder didn't hesitate and directly promised Yi Tianyun. The others looked at each other. Yi Tianyun was so confident. Well, when are we going down? Yi Tianyun said. Let's not delay, if you don't have any problem, we can go down now. The Great Elder said solemnly. Well, I don't have any problem, let's go down now. Yi Tianyun nodded. This matter should not be delayed. The longer it is delayed, the worse the situation inside will be. Immediately, the Great Elder personally led the way and walked down with the help of his walking stick. At this time, he released his full strength and forced the heavenly yin fire back. Originally, we needed to use our flames to slowly repel the heavenly yin fire. Now, we need your help. The immortal fire is much stronger than our phoenix fire, and it can restrain the heavenly yin fire. The Great Elder said in a sincere tone, we will trouble you for everything. After this matter is over, you will always be a friend of our phoenix race. If you need help, we will do our best to help you. Yi Tianyun nodded. He needed this kind of effect. He walked forward and glanced at the heavenly yin fire. He raised his hand and cast the swallowing heaven divine art again. The heavenly yin fire quickly rolled over and was absorbed into his body. The people next to him were shocked. They thought that Yi Tianyun would use the immortal fire to kill them. Who would have thought that he would absorb it into his body? Was this not a big deal? 1,000 proficiency points, 2,000 proficiency points, 3,000 proficiency points. His proficiency points increased crazily. The netherworld fire and the heavenly yin fire belonged to the same type. After absorbing the netherworld fire, it was like a great tonic. Not bad. Absorbing the immortal fire will help the netherworld fire level up. If it can level up this time, it will be perfect. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. He just wanted to give it a try, but who would have thought that there would be no problem? Destroying the heavenly yin fire and absorbing it was undoubtedly more cost-effective. Little brother, is it okay for you to absorb it into your body like this? The Great Elder was worried that Yi Tianyun wouldn't be able to withstand it. They all thought that Yi Tianyun chose to absorb the heavenly yin fire into his body and then use the immortal fire to dissolve it. Because no one could have two kinds of flames at the same time. Especially two kinds of flames that restrained each other. Chapter 501. Along with Yi Tianyun swallowed the heavenly yin fire without any difficulty. Although the heavenly yin fire's level was high, it wasn't difficult to absorb it, especially with the help of the divine tool, the netherworld pearl. Soon, a lot of heavenly yin fire was absorbed into Yi Tianyun's body. The Great Elder, who was standing next to Yi Tianyun, was shocked. Is there really no problem? Of course, Yi Tianyun didn't have any problem absorbing the heavenly yin fire, it would only get stronger and stronger. Yi Tianyun continued to absorb the heavenly yin fire like crazy. The deeper he went, the denser the heavenly yin fire became. His experience also soared rapidly. According to this situation, it wouldn't be difficult for him to level up to the heavenly level, as long as he absorbed the heavenly yin fire for a period of time. As they went deeper, the Great Elder's face became more and more solemn, because they knew that they were about to reach the area where the evil soul was located. Get ready, "We are about to reach the seal," the Great Elder said solemnly. They nodded. Yi Qianyun also wanted to see how strong the evil soul was. He wanted to see how strong the evil soul was to be able to put so many Spirit King stage experts on guard. Yi Qianyun had to take a closer look. Soon, after absorbing the heavenly yin fire in front of them, they changed from a downward passage to a flat road, straight to the front. When he came down, in addition to the terrifying heavenly yin fire, he saw a lot of divine rune arrays in the distance, which were engraved on the ground and the surrounding walls. Now, many of the divine runes on the walkway were destroyed, and even the surrounding divine runes were being burned by the heavenly yin fire. These divine runes were really hard. Even after being burned for so long, there were still a lot of them that weren't destroyed. In the innermost part of the walkway, there were two huge phoenix statues. One was a phoenix, and the other was a phoenix. Two divine beasts were suppressing a piece of land. The phoenix was a male and a female, so of course, there were two of them here. However, their power couldn't completely suppress the evil soul, which caused the heavenly yin fire to continuously emerge from the ground and spread to the surroundings. As it spread, it incinerated the divine veins in the area, and just like that, a path was forcefully burned out. Under the phoenix stone statue is the suppressed evil soul. Yi Qianyun could feel an extremely dangerous aura surging over from the ground. It was rather terrifying. "That's not a statue," the Grand Elder said. "It really is our ancestor." In order to suppress the evil soul, he transformed himself into a statue to suppress it for all eternity. When the Grand Elder and the others saw the statue, they were filled with deep veneration. If it weren't for them, this place would have fallen into enemy hands long ago. They were fleeing in all directions and had nowhere to settle down. Yi Qianyun looked at the two statues and his heart was filled with respect. This kind of dedication was worthy of respect. Hehehe, are you guys here? You guys will never be able to suppress me. Soon, I will be able to get out of here. At this moment, an eerie voice came from the ground in the distance and spread throughout the tunnel. The echoes kept ringing in their ears. It was extremely strange. He didn't expect the vile soul to be able to speak. It seemed that the formation wouldn't be able to suppress it for long. If this continued, the vile soul would be able to break free. Bastard. This time, we will seal you again. Next time, we will definitely find a way to destroy you. The Grand Elder shouted angrily. The walking stick in his hand fiercely struck the ground. A ray of light penetrated through the ground and rushed forward. Soon, it hit the bottom of the statue. Bang! It sounded as if it had hit something, but there didn't seem to be any changes. With this attack, you want to hurt me? Let your ancestor come in person. Maybe he can hurt me. You little guy, go back and cultivate for a few hundred years. The evil soul laughed and didn't care about the attack at all. Bastard. The Grand Elder's face darkened. He immediately looked at Yi Qianyun and said, "Look at the divine runes here. Can you repair them one by one? As long as the divine runes here are repaired, his strength will be sharply reduced." "No problem." Yi Qianyun quickly took out the dragon whisker divine pen. His eyes flashed and he instantly opened his heavenly eye. The surrounding divine runes grand array appeared in front of him one by one. The grand array here was indeed at the level of a divine rune grandmaster. The difficulty was quite high. Without a certain level, it would be really difficult to repair. But he had already prepared for it. There was no problem. After quickly cleaning up the heavenly yin fire here, he immediately began to carve again. The divine runes were quickly repaired. The speed was impeccable. This made them quite satisfied. According to this speed, they would soon be able to repair the divine runes here. As long as they were repaired, there wouldn't be too much danger when they approached the evil soul. "Oh, you also found a divine rune grandmaster to repair the divine runes. This time, I won't let you repair them." The evil soul laughed heartily, and a terrifying heavenly yin fire swept over. It quickly turned into a huge black shadow that shrouded them. It was like a huge bat that glided over to them. Even if the evil soul was sealed, the attack it released was still extremely terrifying. Its battle power was as high as 500 million. A casual move could release such a terrifying power. One had to say that this evil soul was really terrifying. If it wasn't terrifying, how could it not be killed? Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. Just as he was about to mobilize his whole body's power to absorb it, the Great Elder's figure quickly blocked in front of him. The Great Elder fiercely waved his crutch and fiercely slammed it on the ground. A huge phoenix appeared on his body. With a loud cry, the terrifying phoenix fire covered the sky and pressed down. In an instant, its battle power reached 700 million. It fiercely ignited the black fog, but it didn't completely suppress it. The black fog continued to press down. "Break for me," the Great Elder roared. He swung the crutch in his hand and fiercely smashed it down. A sharp light split the black fog in the middle. Then, a terrifying flame swallowed both sides. In the blink of an eye, the attack was completely swallowed. At this time, the crutch in the Great Elder's hand was no longer a crutch, but a long sword, a divine tool. "Oh, your strength is not bad. But can you suppress the speed at which I destroy the divine runes? I want to see whether the person you brought is faster than me in destroying or in repairing." The evil soul laughed loudly. The surrounding mountains shook, and the divine runes dimmed little by little. It seemed that the evil soul was about to break out. It wanted to completely break free from this seal,